Sports Day, and we are all together in our Odyssey studios overlooking Murphy Canyon. Annie Heilbrunn, Braden Soprenet, I'm Craig Elsten, here with you for the next 4 hours, live local San Diego sports talk, working our way toward Padres baseball tonight. Well, Annie, good morning to you.
Good morning, Craig. Good morning, Braden. I did the thing where I plugged my earphones into my computer and not the system here at work, so that's the kind of morning that is happening right now.
Fair.
But I can hear everyone now, so that's great.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, we're safe. We're here till 2. We're going to open up the lines today. It's kind of becoming a tradition if we lose 3 in a row to go ahead and open the window and see what comes in a little bit, as the Padres offered a very frustrating performance last night, Annie.
Very frustrating. I know we're going to get into all the details. Adam Mazur, great job. I mean, you look at him and you're like, okay, maybe they can withstand some of these injuries that are happening to the rotation because they've talked about their depth for a long time. If he ends up being that guy that we saw last night more often than not, then they're in an okay place in terms of depth right now, for sure. But this offense.
This offense.
You know, we can start with the good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got to do that.
We got to do that here. Manny and Fernando and Jurickson and great.
And you've stopped?
And I've stopped because that is all. I mean, there was a great stat. I'm sure you guys saw it this morning. I saw it in AC's newsletter. Profar, Machado, and Tatis have gone 10 for 21 with 2 walks in the past 2 games. The rest of the Padres, 3 for 43 with 3 walks.
3
So I laugh
43.
because it's not funny, but
It's
yeah.
not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Well, guess what?
There's a righty on the mound today.
Woohoo!
Wow.
They
not what
went
you're gonna
3
say?
games up, and they went 3 games down, and then they wound up in the same place that they were before.
Hey,
The
I've
roller coaster spins again
I've
at
heard of
Mission
that
Bay.
before. I've heard of that before. Is that a roller coaster?
It's more like it's kind of like the Mission Bay coaster.
Yeah, just a little
just
up,
a
little
little down.
What's it called? The Little Dipper?
The
Big
Little Dipper.
Yeah. Which one is
Right,
it?
Braden?
Is it the
And-
Big or Little Dipper?
I think it's the little Dipper.
Because the other one's in Santa Cruz.
I think it's
I think it's the Little Dipper.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It kind of shakes you around a little bit. You're like, woo, and then you're just right back at the same place where you started.
Ooh, okay, go ahead. Make sure you grabbed your purse and your phone. Don't leave your phone. I almost left my phone once.
Oh,
I think of the Star Wars Revolution ride, and like you get up and then you're just like, oh. Got to grab that thing.
yeah.
Giant Dipper, says Tyler.
Giant
so we got
Dipper.
the
That's
Giant
right,
Dipper.
Tyler.
Okay,
The other one's in
Giant.
Santa Cruz.
Yeah, who's saying little, huh? Giant Dipper. Mike Schild. He doesn't like the idea. 3 games up, 3 games down, same damn place, same spot, 500. Parse it how you want. Oh, we're in a playoff spot.
Sick.
If the season ended today, which I assuredly can tell you it won't. It'll end at the end of September.
Let's hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
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 That'd
That'd be a real problem. That'd be a real problem.
That's not.
That'd
Yeah.
be a real problem.
Yes.
I heard Ben say it this morning, and he's correct. There's still a vast runway in front of you.
Of
There's
course.
a vast runway in front of you to create a fate that you are proud of at the end of the day, to make sure that you are playing your best baseball.
You know what blew me away last night? And it was something that was so casually elided on the broadcast that it was hard to notice, because you kind of have to point it out in order for everyone to notice. With Patrick Sandoval on the mound, the Padres went out number 1, out number 2 every single inning. Out 1, out 2. Out
And then
1,
did a little
out 2.
2-out rally.
Couple of times.
Right, uh-huh.
Twice they
You're right.
generated a 2-out rally.
Mm-hmm.
But they did the thing that you do if you're a terrible offense. And they just kept doing it. Out 1, out 2. Quick outs.
Yeah.
Quick outs. Sandoval, who's not good. Has he been better lately? Sure. Did he? He can now say he's had 3 out of 4 good starts. The one in between, he gave up like 8 earned runs. He's a mess. And the Padres let him sit in his comfort zone. He might as well have had on a smoking jacket and slippers out there. He was so comfortable handling them. Fastball high, changeup away, swing
Yeah.
over the top of the changeup every single time. And We can no longer, it's true that the Padres have faced good left-handed pitching this year. It's undeniably true. It's also undeniably true that what they have created as an output against left-handed pitching is even worse than that. It's even below the alibi.
Yeah, and Tony Gwynn Jr. was on in the Padres pregame show with Sammy, and he said something to that effect of the Tyler Anderson the night before, not someone that you can't put runs up against, like not someone that is just so good that you can't touch.
Right.
He made that comment, and same thing last night with Patrick Sandoval. Good pitcher, good left-hander, but not untouchable, not some elite guy that just has the best stuff. He's getting everybody out all across the league, and so that is what's concerning right now for sure.
My buddy Sean, who lives up in Long Beach, he and I will text back and forth time to time, and he's always followed the Angels too, and he texted me at the beginning of last night's game, and he's like, Willie Calhoun is batting cleanup for the Angels. This isn't a lineup. This is a cry for help. And I couldn't agree more. Who was the threat in last night's lineup for the Angels?
Luis Rengifo.
Exactly right, Braden. Correct. Ding, if you have the ding ready. Ding. Luis Rengifo. Luis Rengifo was the scariest hitter in the Angels lineup last night.
Yeah.
Oh, Hoppy bats fifth. Like Adele, who's under 200, hits sixth or seventh. Look out for Neto. Give me a break. That lineup was Charmin soft. That was one of the weakest lineups that the Padres will see all year. I'm telling you that right now. Until the end of the season, that's one of the weakest lineups the Padres will face. And they faced it back-to-back. And Waldron shut him down. Mazur shut him down. We'll talk more about the pitching side next. We'll shine it up a little bit for the Friars. But I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that lineup. And then I look at our lineup.
Yeah.
And every single game, 1-1, going to the seventh. Here we go. This is not acceptable. It should not be acceptable to the Padres how they are performing offensively.
This was the first time all season for the Angels that they got back-to-back wins at home.
Yeah.
They got them off the Padres. It's becoming a bit tiring to have the Padres almost being the team that gets other teams right, And it's funny because we look at this. I mean, it's not funny, but you know what I mean? We look at the schedule and it's like, oh, it looks like a soft part of the schedule. It looks like a schedule that they can dominate. And so you almost look, you really have to look at the schedule right now and not even think that way. You have to just look at the schedule and think that every team is almost like the Phillies in a sense. In fact, they're probably going to do better against the Phillies, honestly, than or the Brewers than what's been going on. There's something happening, especially when they're facing these types of teams that are seemingly out of it. And these types of teams are also playing, they have still something to fight for. They want to get traded or they want to, pad up their numbers or whatever. But these aren't teams that they cannot beat. And it's becoming difficult too because I do believe in this. When you get three great performances from your starting pitcher, okay, you had Michael King, 7 innings, 1 run on Sunday. You had Waldron, 6 1/3, 1 run on Monday. You had Adam Mazur, 6 innings pitched, 1 run yesterday. And you don't win any of those games. Those are known as wasted starting pitcher appearances because your starting pitcher did so well, kept you in the game, and the offense should take that as insulting to them. You know what I mean? The offense should be mad about it. They should be, because they kind of let their starting pitcher down there. It's like, that's the whole thing. They're keeping you in the game. They're giving you these excellent performances. You got to win at least one of those, if not two.
Yeah. I mean, Sunday, I gave them that they were facing a really good left-hander. They waited him out. King pitched long enough and well enough to get to a bullpen, and then they got into the KC bullpen. They got 2 runs. And, of course, Matsui blew it. And we'll talk about Matsui as the game goes along because he blew it last night, too. But the last 2 nights, I'm sorry. They are fitting in as the patsy in the play that the Angels want to write. Going up there and just living to the pitcher's game plan. the whole night, letting the pitcher control whether it was Anderson or Sandoval. Patrick Sandoval is a guy who unravels. That's what he does all the time. That's why his whip is 1.5. And they made him look like Tom Glavine. And in fact, the Padres have made every lefty look like Tom Glavine. Chris Ello put the research together yesterday. I got to give him the tip of the cap, and this is the updated number, okay? The last 16 games where a left-handed starter has gone against the Padres are 4-12 in those games. Baseline, right? 4-12. Now, take it a step further. How did those starters do? Maybe we lost a bunch of slugfests. Nope. The starting pitchers in that 16-game bracket are 9-2 with an ERA of 1.38. 1.38. In 13 of the 16 games, the left-handed starting pitcher either allowed no runs or 1 run. And in the other 3, they allowed 3 runs. So it's never been more than 3 runs. 16 starts in a row. And in those 16 starts, 98 innings pitched for those left-handed starters. So they're getting deep in the game, shutting out the Padres or holding them to 1 run. And it's happened for well over a month now. It's basically this deep into the season.
Yeah, it's like we talk about the identity, and right now that is their identity. And if you're an opposing manager, you're looking and going, do we have a lefty starting against the Padres? Because that bodes well for us, because that's kind of the hole you kind of dig yourself in when especially when opposing teams are looking at your stats and how you're performing. Eric in the chat says, what was their record against lefties last season? I don't have it on hand, Eric.
I remember it was a winning record,
It's a winning record, and they were good against lefties. And that was actually the message from Mike Schilt, which was the correct message at the beginning of the season. Hey, this team hasn't faced a lot of lefties. They were really good against lefties last year. It's going to even out. And the fact of the matter is it just hasn't even out. And Mike Schilt has talked about it more recently, where he's talked about we have to go back and look at the drawing board. Are we using the right approach? Are we going in with the right mentality against lefties? Are we all on the same page there? I imagine they have had those talks, because that was something that was talked about a few weeks ago. So now you're just still kind of seeing a continuation of a problem. Now, I do think that part of it is they're having so much trouble hitting in general, but not on the road and not against righties. So that is where, if it was just the top 3 guys, if it was Manny and Toddy and X maybe before he went on the injured list, then I would kind of chalk that up more to they're just having a hard time hitting.
Yeah.
But on the road, these guys have been really good against righties. I mean, tops in the majors, and on the road, just pretty much really good in general. So that would kind of lead you to say, well, then this is just a problem right now against lefties. This is almost their cross to bear, like last year was the extra inning game or the 1-run game.
Yeah.
Like this is their thing this year, that they're having this trouble with these lefties.
I love how you put it that way. Why do we always have a cross to bear in San Diego?
I wonder if a lot of teams have crosses to bear, though. Do you think,
I guess. I'm sure if you're in the weeds with every team, there's something for every team. But the thing that just kills me, we'll go to break. We'll talk about the pitching side, which I think does offer at least some room for encouragement, because it's a today thing and it's also a weeks and months from now thing. But the thing that drives me crazy is just, where is the urgency with this franchise? Why do these pockets happen? And the answer afterwards is, oh, yeah, well, that pitcher sure was good. And boy, our guy was good and sure kept him in it. And that's all you can ask. And Like, I listened to the postgame last night, and I honestly went into it thinking, Mike's going to pick a fight tonight. Like, he's going to do it again. Yeah. He's going to do it again. He's going to take some question and hold it up and lightning rod the situation and be like, don't worry about them. Look at me. But instead, it was almost as if the previous conflicts had put the group all in line. Everyone was just like, hey, great effort, Mazur. How about that, Mazur? Oh, you know what? Go get him tomorrow. Boy, Sandoval, that's good, huh? And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, is anyone around here looking at this? Like 138 ERA. This is over 16 games. That's not like just like, oh, well, shut up. Like, they traded off that one start against Max Fried for 2 weeks. Well, look at the averages. Look at this. It was one game when Max Fried was off. Then they were like, well, look at that. Well, look at that. Look, we're getting so much better. 16 games. Give me a break. The Fried starts in that sample, and it's a 138 ERA.
I think it's also a little bit I don't know if misleading is the right word. I mean, it's better to be at 500 or a few games above 500 than it is to be like 10 games below 500. Like, no one's saying that that's not a better place to be, right? It's not a great place to be. It'd be great to be 11 games over 500, instead of under. But it's just, I guess, a little worrisome because, well, two things right now. One, the National League is it's not great. I mean, the thing that's helping the Padres out a lot right now and helping other teams out, to be honest, is this National League the National League, Craig, is struggling. I mean, there's a few teams that are over 500, but really a lot of the teams that we thought were going to be, really good this year. And honestly, you can maybe even put the Padres in that category that you thought were going to be like going above 500 in a extreme fashion. They're not. They're all kind of circling this 500 place, And so, that's another thing you can look at. Well, that's good and that's bad. It's good. The Padres are still in it. They're not, no one's overtaken this race. The bad, there's some teams eventually going to have to pull ahead and some teams are eventually going to fall behind. And so you got to make sure that you are, setting up the processes as best as you can to make sure that you've got a little bit of a cushion. I can't believe, I look back at 2021. It just feels so long ago to me. They were 17 games above 500. That is mind-boggling to me now when I look back on that. And guess what? They lost that.
They finished with a losing record.
But they finished with a losing record. And that, I think, honestly, for me, tells me I know you guys completely, I understand the grumbling about this. So much is going to change between now and September. You obviously, for the Padres, you want it to change for the better. But yeah, they were 17 games above 500. Finished with a losing record, completely let that lead slip away, totally gone. And so, just like everything this year, there's good and there's bad. You can be 500 and pull ahead, but you can also fall behind.
Tony always calls it PTSD. At times, I just call it remembering our history. Like, if you don't remember your history, you just repeat it, and then you keep getting surprised over and over. I can't believe that happened. Well, that year in 2022, in the summer, the Padres faced a stretch of games just like this. Yeah. Just like this. And they goofed around, had soft games, just like the one we saw last night, had weak appearances, didn't really have all of their neck stuck out into that game. And it was like, it's okay. They went 30-35 over a 65-game stretch. And it was like, oh, it's okay. Just the same thing. Well, look, everyone's down here. The Cardinals are below 500. This team's below 500. It's fine. And then it wasn't fine because a couple of teams got hot. The Cardinals won 17 games in a row. The last vestige of the Padres pitching staff fell apart, and they went from wobble to collapse. Yeah. So I don't forget that. The same players that were on that team, many of them are on this team. So I'm not going to give them that never happened, right? It did happen. 2023 did happen. You guys built an entire body of evidence that you are a middling, weak-minded club that folds at adversity, that only comes together when times are easy, and that offer baffling stretches of weak play. Mm-hmm. And until I see compelling evidence on the other side, why do I need to believe that this group is a championship group that's just playing a little under its mettle?
No, I've said that since day one. You've got to earn that. You've got to earn that back. I look, I did a story for the UT over the offseason. Fans that had decided whether they were going to keep their season tickets or not. And there was this sense of, that should not be something said to me. That should be an action, right? Like an action of this team is going to be a team that ends up being over 500, a winning record into this playoffs consistently. Like, it can't just be a talking point. It actually has to happen. And I mean, that's the hardest part with the Padres. I do think that the organization is trying. I think that there are players that absolutely care. I'm sure they all want to win a World Series, but at some point you've got to look at the numbers, and the numbers aren't adding up for what the words have been so far.
Yeah. Let's take a break. We've got plenty of Padres talk today, including after our next segment, we'll open up the phones here in the first hour. When I give out the number, that's your cue to call in. But when we come back, we will talk about the good. We're not just here to hammer on the San Diego Padres. They've lost 3 in a row. It's never as happy a show as when they've won 3 in a row.
It's kind of funny because when I'm looking at my timeline for the Dodgers, they're super mad because they keep losing these 1-run games, and they've got Tyler Glasnow on the mound, and they don't get any run support for him, and they're all in a tizzy about this. But the difference is they've won 38 or something like that,
Right.
or they're
Yeah. And yet they're
they're
still
mad
upset
about it. Yeah,
Right.
they're really mad about it
Because there's an expectation. Where's our expectation? I feel like we expect to be right where we are, just kind of in the muddy middle. And it's like, oh, well, what are you asking of us? We're asking you to take these series, to beat the Rockies, to beat the Marlins up when you've got them on the hook, finish them. The Angels, for God's sake. I mean, this franchise is moribund right now. They're beyond depressed. They're dead. How we let them beat us twice in a row blows my mind. Okay, let's take a break. Sorry. 10:21. Adam Mazur pitched well. We are going to talk about that when we come back. Andy and Elsten on the Fan. 1027 on the Fan. Welcome back. Andy and Elsten here with you. Went a little long in the first segment in full gripe mode. In fact, I'd like to, I don't even know if we still have the song, but I feel like we have to spend the whole season in red alert. I think it's the only time that the team responds. Like, we've seen them play great baseball in red alert circumstances. How is this not red alert? You're about to get swept by the Angels in Anaheim.
I think they're gonna win tonight. I think they're gonna go out there against a right-hander. They're gonna get those bats going.
Tag him for 15
Right.
runs. And
Yeah.
Everything's great. Why is anybody asking me about how great today is?
No, hey, 8 out of 11 series, guys.
That's right.
Well, yeah, sometimes you stumble, but you get right back on that horse and you keep on going. We're going to take some calls in a minute. This literally not just dropped, but Fabrizio Romano is like one of the most respected soccer journalists working in Europe. He's got over 20 million followers. He's kind of the Shams of international soccer, or the Woj, or the Adam Schefter, or
Woj bombs.
yeah, pick whoever you want. But he has tweeted that San Diego FC is set to announce Irving Chucky Lozano by the end of this week.
Oh wow!
By the end of this week.
So big get for them.
It's gigantic.
Yeah.
I mean, here we go. Here we go. We can think about a different superstar for a little while, one that Manny has to pay.
Yeah, man, that's right, man.
That's
He's
right.
part owner of the SDFC, right? Yes.
Some of that cash call is going to Chucky, okay? Some of it's just going to go whoop, right over there. So that's really, really exciting. We had on their first two field players yesterday, the two Danes.
Yes.
That was terrific. But looking forward to having Chucky Lozano, a Mexican superstar, one of the key players on El Tri, the Mexican national team, been playing overseas. And looks like he's coming to San Diego.
Yeah, going to be a huge thing also for just cross-border popularity, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's actually our buddy Philly that's texting me right now, Christian Philemon, but saying that, he was shocked. He thought that Chucky was going to stay in Europe, but this is going to be big. I mean, the thing that made LAFC so huge so fast was they had Carlos Vela as their face. And he was at a similar age when he came to LAFC as Lozano is now, like in his late 20s. So kind of in the prime of his career. And Vela won the Golden Boot. He won MVP. He was part of the team that won the championship. But more than anything, he ignited the Latino fan base and the Mexican-American fan base in Los Angeles because they had to start a cheer for right off the top. And I think it's very clear they've announced a deal with Cholos. Now they've got a Chucky Lozano signing right around the horizon here, right, maybe later this week. They're not looking north. They're looking south to find more of their fan base.
Yeah. No, it's going to be really cool. I mean, obviously the name alone brings a lot of recognition, and not to mention the player on the field, right? So going to be big week for them. Big things happening, right? As more and more of the roster gets filled out and more names get dropped.
Yeah, that's going to be, honestly, that'll probably be the biggest name. Like, that's in his prime, not talking about somebody in their mid-late 30s, like in his prime, Mexican star, chance to be the best player on the team, chance to be an impact player in the league.
How old is he?
27, I think.
Oh, yeah. Still
Yeah.
just a baby.
A pup.
Yeah.
Oh, just a wee pup. So that's really exciting news. And it's a positive buffer. Here's another positive buffer. Look, Adam Mazur. Wow, great. So encouraging that he can come up and throw 6 innings of 1-run ball, yes, against a soft lineup, but a lineup that would compare to the AAA teams that he's been facing. I hate to say that about the Angels, but it's really true. And like a good AAA team. And AAA had a high ERA, but he had to pitch at 6,000 feet, 5,000 feet. So I thought that was a really encouraging sign that should take the Padres' finger off the panic button for going to trade for a pitcher right now.
Yeah, it was everything you would have wanted from him making his debut. I mean, for him, what an amazing debut to look back on. 6 innings of 1-run ball. He was so efficient. He had the walks, obviously, seemed to settle in a little bit more in the 4th inning. And he talked about it after the game that he just started. It was just something that naturally happened for him because he calmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, his adrenaline, especially in those first few innings, and honestly, probably for the 48 hours since he found out that he was going to be making his debut, I'm sure was just off the charts. So for him to settle in, to get comfortable, to get some good strikeouts, this guy was like ground into double play. I mean, I'd look up and all of a sudden there were 2 outs because he had gotten that. And so that really was a good sign for him as well. Never really seemed like it was too big for him. Now, of course, this is the league where now you got to go out and do it again. But, you want to celebrate this moment. You want to celebrate the moment for him for just a fantastic debut. Had all of his family and friends there. And for him, just I'm sure something, completely magical he's dreamed of since he was a kid.
Yeah, and giveaway night, so big crowd, too.
Big crowd, exactly. And even he went through the lineup 3 times, right? So
Pretty much,
yeah. So even, not the most potent lineup over there for sure, but still big league hitters and guys that have been around the block for a while. And he was able to get to them and navigate that lineup. So, again, really, really nicely done by him in a spot, like you said, Craig, where you're dealing with rotation injuries and you're dealing with, oh no, what's going to happen now? If he can be this guy, I'm sure he'll have some growing pains, but if he can be this guy most of the time, to me, that takes a huge amount of pressure off of desperately trying to find someone. You still maybe want to find someone and you want to look and get your ducks in a row, but maybe you don't make any desperation moves if you feel like this is the guy you're going to get on the mound more times than not.
Couldn't agree more. This was the organization's game plan coming into the season, was to rely on their minor league depth, to believe that they had a couple of guys in their organization that were about ready to make that transition, and that at times, and Vasquez would be the most polished of those because he was in the big leagues last year, Brito of a like, a similar spot, but Mazur right behind. Bergert, another guy who's kind of like a little bit closer to the big leagues, that those guys would be able to contribute this year, where last year when the Padres had a problem, they had to look outside. There was nobody in the minor leagues that they could go to. So this is good. While many things have gone poorly, or at least I should say, there are many areas of concern, issues, fires to address for A.J. Preller. I think his starting pitching plan has really worked out for the most part this year. Where it's gone wrong are the guys that you've got long-term commitments to. But all the individual decisions that he made, from Cease to King to Waldron, getting Vasquez, bringing up Mazur, all of this has worked to plan.
It has, and this is again the plan that the front office at least wants. They want to be able to bring in the younger guys, the more cost-effective guys from their minor league system, have them contribute, and to be buoyed by these more expensive contracts and these superstar guys that kind of lends to this veteran young player relationship in the clubhouse. And so this is what they feel, I'm sure, is, like you said, the kind of the beginning of that. You got your Jackson Merrill. Now you have your Mazur. You have whoever else is coming up in the system that they feel like they're going to be able to lean on. Did you see this about Joe?
Yes, with Dr. Neil Elatrash.
Yes, I apologize if it's he might have said it to the media. I saw it in the UT, but so he was examined by Dr. Neil Elatrash, who is world renowned, as we know, received confirmation of the diagnosis of triceps tendonitis and the remedy of rest. He is expected to miss at least a month.
Yeah.
That was what stuck out with me. He expected, he's not coming back after 15 days. He's expected to miss at least a month. At least, right. It might be longer. Now you got to work back up after you miss that. So he's got to have a little bit of a ramp up period. So you've got to, again, right. It's not panic mode because of what you saw last night with Mazur. There's also going to be teams are going to adjust to Mazur. Mazur's going to need to adjust back. So there's certainly balls in the air right now for this front office.
Yeah, and the whole key to this is Darvish right now. If Darvish can come back in 10 days, then Mazur gets maybe 2 more starts, and then at that point you've got a decision point.
I forgot that's Darvish. Yeah, so you still have Vasquez also that can pitch.
Right.
Yeah.
But if they're both out for an extended period of time, then you are leaning on Mazur as your 5th starter for a while. and then, you're up against it.
And Yu was out throwing, I believe, yesterday. Now this is a groin strain for him. So as long as it doesn't affect his arm, obviously, but that was a good sign that he was out on the field throwing. And I don't think he's expected to miss much more than 15 days. So good point. If you need to, right, you might still only have one guy in the rotation that needs that's on the IL, and so you just fill in with either Vasquez or Mazur now, depending on what you need.
Yeah, and whoever's doing better.
Exactly.
Yeah, good stuff. And Roxanne asks, enlighten me as to why they haven't used Gillespie in the chat. And the answer is because they sent him down yesterday to make room on the 26-man roster for Mazur. So the reason why they didn't use him the day or two before, well, you'd have to ask Mike Schilt about that. But as point of fact, he got sent down yesterday to make room for Mazur, and Mazur was made room for on the 40-man roster by Tucupita Marcano being banned for life from baseball. So, opened up a spot. Scratch him off the list then. He's gone.
Yeah.
He gone. Okay, let's take a break, and we'll open up the phones when we come back. What do you want to say about Padres baseball out there? 97.3 listenership. Give us a call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Braden will screen you during the break. We'll take you when we come back. Annie and Elsten roll until 2 on The Fan. 1044 on the Fan. Welcome back. Andy and Elsten here with you till 2 o'clock today. 12 o'clock Sports Fix coming up at the midpoint of the week exactly. 12 p.m. on Wednesday, full 5-day week going for you. We'll have that. We'll have Ask Us Anything later in the show. It's your chance to join the program right now, 833-288-0973. Our telephone lines are open. We are taking calls this segment on Andy and Elsten. May do it later in the show, depending on how things run. Coming up at 11, of course, our Padres Deep Dive Hour. We'll bring you the numbers that you're not getting, some of the information, just true information about what's going on with this team. And if you want to know why they're having such a hard time scoring runs, it's because some of the key players in the lineup are not performing at the level that they were earlier in the season. Information that you can use, and we will give it to you a little bit later in the show. Plus, we'll talk some more about this Garrett Crochet rumor. We'll get into Yuki Matsui. We'll talk about it all. Right now, we're going to chat with you, 833-288-0973. Let's welcome in Jed in Little Italy. Hi, Jed. How you going?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Thanks for calling.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Two things I'd like to touch on real quick. First one, it doesn't really seem like this team makes adjustments game to game. They show up to the field every single day with the same approach no matter who's on the mound. And I think that could be one of the reasons that they're truly struggling against lefties. Like you said, Sandoval last night got through however many innings, getting the first two guys out. I don't believe he walked his first batter till the sixth inning. So if you know you're struggling against lefties, maybe change up the approach, try to extend those at-bats a little bit and get to the bullpen earlier. And two, I truthfully think that this catcher position is becoming a way bigger issue than is being talked about. We either need a catcher that's great defensively or we need a catcher that's great offensively. But right now we have catchers that are not great either way. Campusano's getting real lazy behind the plate with framing pitches, which I know he was getting a lot of credit for early on in the season, so I don't know what happened to that. And the guy cannot throw a runner out. So just kind of wanted your thoughts on those things.
Well, you couldn't be more right, Jed, when it comes to the catching position. And that's one of the numbers that we'll get into in the Padres deep dive. But to put it very simply, Annie, I am at the point now where I start to look longingly at Kyle Higashioka's like 130 average and think of it as a potential improvement to what Campusano's bringing night by night at the plate. That's really sad for Luis because this is his chance to be a big league starter. Like this, he'll never get a better chance than what he's got this year in San Diego. And he got off to a solid start. And honestly, it's been well over a month now of way below replacement level performance.
Yeah, it's sorry, I just had something in my throat. It does seem like, I mean, this is a prolonged slump for Luis Campusano and behind the plate and also at the plate. I mean, it's not clicking for him right now. And it's concerning for the Padres. I don't know, what you do in terms of upgrading at that position right now.
I know we're seeing in the chat from Charisma and Travis, like call up Sully. I mean, yeah, okay. Is that...
It's you can definitely do that, and maybe it's better than what's happening right now, but it's not an ideal move for a team that really has a lot invested in Luis Campusano to be the catcher that they need him to be, and that they've really put a lot of years into him becoming. And I don't know if it's just this month that he's struggling. I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely concerning at this point.
Sullivan's like slapping a Band-Aid on it.
Right.
It's like, it'll work for like a week and a half, and then he'll just be who he is, the major league level, and then we'll be like, oh, well, maybe this guy's not the answer either. The catching thing is very difficult because you either get a guy that can catch or a guy that can swing, and there's not a lot of unicorns out there like Adley Rutschman that can do both, or like back the prime Salvador Perez, right? These guys that are usually drafted and signed. So, which is interesting because Campusano is supposed to be this guy, and now he's not. So hopefully Salas is this guy. He's a lot better than Campusano's comps, at least with coming through as well. So that's the difference, because a lot of people are like, well, remember Campusano was supposed to be that guy too. I'm like, it's a little different. Salas is a little bit different than Campusano, but to me, you're not going to find the replacement on the open market.
Let's go to Magic in San Diego. Hi, Magic. Welcome to Annie and Elsten. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Hey, I love your show, and I got a couple of questions, one for Annie. Annie, I listen to you guys' show all the time. It's my favorite show on sports radio. And I've nicknamed you Uncanny Annie for your knack of balancing out Craig for you guys' takes on the Padres. You have this positivity about you, but as a guy, a sports fan in San Diego, I'm a Steeler fan and a Penguin fan, but I'm a sports fan. I've been waiting for years for the Padres to do something to make me a sports fan. And I got to tell you, in the last 3 weeks, I'm tired of wasting 2.5 hours of watching a team that can't beat a left-hander nor beat a sub-500 team. It's very frustrating, and I don't know what the problem is. I don't know whether it's they don't have an identity, because this year people say they have an identity. I don't see the difference with Bone Mill. I really don't. Schultz was supposed to be the answer. I just don't see any difference from last year outside of a few personnel. So I don't want to say I'm done with them, but I'm frustrated. I just can't see this team getting any better, and they got too many holes to fix. And the franchise that has too many players that have long-term contracts, I don't know what to think about him in the future. So I'll listen to you guys off the air.
Magic, good call, man.
His name's Magic?
Yeah.
Oh, Magic. Well, first of all, thanks for listening. And we appreciate you being here for sure. And, I think sometimes it's just that I feel like I've been humbled in this game quite a bit, where I have looked at something and said, there is no way this is going to change, or there is, this seems like what it's going to be forever. And this game will really embarrass you sometimes. I mean, it's just kind of how baseball is. So I think that while there is mathematical possibility and there is the ability to turn things around, which it's more than mathematical right now. I mean, they really do have a runway for themselves, but have they shown that they're going to seize that runway and run with it off into the future? They have not. I always like to tell fans too, like, Magic, you got this. Like, if this is not making you happy in your day-to-day life, like, you don't feel bad about, like, saying, I'm not watching until I always tell fans, like, if this is, it should give you back something in return. Right.
I couldn't agree more.
If it's not giving you back anything in return, then this is a one-sided relationship that is not healthy for you, So if it's giving you back something in return, you keep on it. If not, maybe you take a little break. Maybe you're on a little relationship break for a little while.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. By the way, first things first, as a response, is if you feel frustrated, I would respond by saying, I believe you are invested. You're invested in the team. You are tuning in every night, looking for wins, excited, following these storylines, listening to sports talk radio all day. Like, you're an invested fan. If you're an invested fan of the Padres and you're not frustrated with what's going on, then we're just not on the same wavelength. This has been a frustrating season because they continually show you. Here's the thing. I would have said it in the first segment too. It's like they've done so much good. Right? They've done so much good. They've beaten the Dodgers in a series twice. They went to Atlanta. They took 3 out of 4. They went to Kansas City. They took 2 out of 3 from a good Royals team. They went to Milwaukee. They took 2 out of 3 from a Brewers team that's been in first place all year in the American League Central. The Cubs were a winning team the first 2 months. They've been struggling lately. The Padres got them into that struggle by beating them. 2 series, home and away. No one had won a series at Wrigley Field. The Padres went to Wrigley Field and won a series. Merrill has been good. Profar is an all-star, having his career season. Cronenworth come back, right?
Robert Suarez.
So many good things have happened for this team, and they've thrown it away by getting swept by Colorado, losing a series to the Angels, to the worst teams, losing to Colorado over and over. They're 2-5 against the Rockies. So all that great work they did in the end is just in a cupboard back there. What do they have to show for it? I guess the fact that they're not out of the playoffs right now is what they have to show for it. They're 500. They're in the mix, but honestly, they still have to do all the building still in the last 98 games to become a winning team and to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you have to essentially, we talk about the identity thing a lot. You have to make that your new identity, right? Like, you have to, we're not going to lose to these kinds of teams. We are not going to lie down. We're going to fight, and we're going to have that sense of urgency maybe that we see is missing sometimes, or that we feel like is missing. I think that these guys, it's hard to know. Like, it's hard to sit here in this studio and be like, do I know exactly what their pregame routines are, what they do in the weight room, or what they do mentally to like, I don't know that they're not trying as hard as they can. I just don't know that. So it's hard for me to sit here and say that. I think organizationally, you can look at this, and it's kind of similar to the Chargers, right? I mean, it's like you get close and you're sort of like in the mix, and every year they would pick the Chargers to be the Super Bowl winners, but there was something just not clicking. They never made it to become that team, and so this is, I think, one of those where it's like there's so many kind of places to look and rocks to uncover, and what exactly is the issue. And sometimes you change something and it means you're set back for 5 years or so, and sometimes you change something and you give yourself a better chance at the future. And those are decisions that they have to make and they have to look at and figure out. But it's probably more than just one thing.
And the last thing, and we've got some folks on hold. Maybe we'll take a couple calls on the other side of the break, but we're way too close to the break. Is that Magic? Listen, man, just like Annie said, last night when Neto's ball sailed over Profar's head, and I watched the replay and saw him take a step in, and I turned the game off. Yeah. I grabbed the leash. Doggy and I went out for a walk. Cool night air. Calms you down. I let the machine tell me the rest of the way. Like, handle it the way you need to handle it to make you feel good as a Padres fan. All right, hour number 2 of Annie and Elsten, Padres Deep Dive Hour, and some more phone calls next on The Fan. Hour number 2 of the program. Welcome back. It's another Red Alert Wednesday here on Annie and Elsten. Padres have dropped 3 in a row, but we're still feeling good. Sun's starting to peek out already today. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day in San Diego. And Annie, as we were going to break, one of our great commenters on YouTube, Matt Schwartz, caught your eye with one of his comments.
Yes, Matt. Matt said on the chat, I use dumb losses as an opportunity to have my own little what's good segment and check in about what is still awesome in my life, even when the Pods lose. Last night we were listening to the game. We pissed and moaned for a good 10 minutes, got it off our chest, then finished up our super fun game of, I don't know what that means. Terraforming Mars.
Yeah, I think that's a board game. I haven't played that one, but yeah.
Well, so the only reason that I bring that up, and I feel like Rich in the chat also, he's a season ticket holder. I feel like he feels the same way. I feel like we get in a bubble here where, yes, there are so many frustrated and mad and pissed off fans, and you absolutely have the right to be that. I don't know how many, though, are also like on the other side, hey, I've invested a little bit of time and money into this. When they lose, it sucks. It doesn't really affect my life that much, for better or for worse, And I only bring that up because in the newspaper, you will get or even any form, the radio station, TV broadcast, when you're, when you're putting something in the public domain, you get on Twitter, especially like on social media or whatever, there's a lot of negativity there, right?
Sure.
But no one tells you about the people who just read the article and go about their day, or watch the broadcast and go about their day. And those people are not the ones that are talking to you. It's the ones that are very upset usually that are talking to you, right? And so it's just, I think I'm just trying to say it's while there is completely the right, and I understand it, I get it, to be upset about everything that's going on. I don't know what the percentage of people who just carry about their day without it really bothering them all that much, who are season ticket holders or who are listening to our show, or I don't know that line, I guess, you know?
Well, I mean, I just tend to figure that we are catering to the more extreme side of the audience because we are a sports talk radio outlet. Mm-hmm. So those who are more frustrated / invested / whatever, they're tuning in. Whereas, and I don't think it's a wrong thing, but just like we talked about with Magic, there's a time to turn the game off.
No, completely. No, I don't mean it that way. I mean it more like if the season ticket sales still remain high, then I guess you have to think that there is something that it's not the winning and the losing maybe that fans are drawn to. Maybe it's the night out on the town, or maybe it's we have disposable money and we want to have season tickets. We don't want to let them go. The only thing that kind of speaks to me is the money, is the season tickets, right? Yeah. Doesn't it to you? You're a season ticket holder. You must have a reason. If this team doesn't make the playoffs this year, you must have a reason that you keep your season tickets next year.
It's funny you bring that up. And we're going to get into some more stuff. Of course, this is our deep dive hour. We've got some folks on hold. We said we'll take some more calls as well. It's just funny you bring that up. Mm-hmm. It was just last night, just as a matter of my own personal accounting or whatever, that because I share my season ticket, my full season tickets with another guy. And so on games that we sell, we split the revenue, right? So last night was when I gathered the money from the last 2 series, which was Dodgers-Yankees, split it up and sent it to him. And he got a nice little chunk. He got enough to pay for about 3 months of season tickets.
Yeah.
From those 2 series alone, we both did. And so he wrote back whoa. And I wrote to him listen, buddy, this is probably the end of the road this year. Just to let you know, look forward to the rest of the weekend series at Petco Park. And it's not the Yankees and the Dodgers that's coming in. There's a lot of Arizona and just lesser opponents, less prestigious, less winning.
So the resale won't be as high.
Precisely. And the moment where the tickets become untradeable that's the moment when your season ticket becomes now an issue.
You have to kind of look at the finances sort of thing.
That is correct.
And that hasn't been the case really the last few years, I would think.
100%. I started
Maybe the
in
end
2021.
of last year. I don't know.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
So I started in 2021, and so now this is my 4th year as a season ticket holder. And every year so far, you've been able to make your money back as a full season ticket holder. You've been able to make it back, no problem. Of course, 2022, there were playoff games too. It was like, bigger investment, bigger payback too. But that dynamic matters to me as a season ticket holder. Like, the reason I agree to keep giving them a small car payment in the winter is because in the summer you recoup that by having your resale value. When the resale value disappears, then all of a sudden, and you're giving, which is literally what happened the last 3 series, last 3 homestands in 2023. I couldn't give my tickets away.
Yeah.
Never mind sell them.
Yeah.
The entire resale market was like $16 for a ticket. So there was no point almost. I would try to give them away and people would be like, I'm not interested. So there is a shelf life for this, and the shelf life, for some people, it's a legacy and they'll keep it forever.
Sure.
For some people, it's what you said, it's a night on the town. For some people, it's an asset for their corporation or their small business.
Gives you first chance at other things.
Sure,
that's
concerts.
why my dad gets the tickets, so he could go, at his age, him and my mom can go to different events that come to Petco Park.
Yeah.
And they do a great job filling that place, and concerts and all that other fun stuff that they potentially host as well. I totally agree with you too, Craig. Last year, I got a buddy that likes going to a lot of games, and it came to, August, September, where me and my family are obviously just totally engulfed into high school football, where we don't have time to go to games. We would offer, hey, you want to go? You can just have them. My buddy's like, it's college football season. The NFL's on. I'm not really that interested anymore. And that was when they were winning some games. It's just the luster wears off, and eventually you can't get rid of them for free, where you're still eating the money.
And the Padres also benefit, right, from being the game in town. They benefit from there's not another, there's not a major league. There's no NFL. There's no NBA, NHL. There'll be more choices probably next year. And look, I go back to, if you're going to games and you're having fun, then you're getting something out of it. So you do what you do. If you're watching games and you're having fun, you're getting something out of it. It's certainly that should be your relationship with it. At least I think so. Is if it's giving you something back, you do and you enjoy it. I know, my dad was a season ticket holder for the NFL for a long time, but he just liked watching games at home more at a certain point, and that's kind of where he moved to. And there was nothing wrong with it. There was no hard feelings or animosity. It was just, you like your bathroom and your kitchen and all that, your snacks and things like that, your guacamole and chips or whatever. So I just
love my guacamole.
The beer is cheaper at home. There's no doubt about it.
There's no line for the bathroom.
right. But
well, it depends on which house you're in, kid.
But it is
That's true.
interesting. I know we're veering into a whole other discussion here, but I do think about with resale, from doing the tailgating videos for the Chargers, when the Chargers were playing here, there were so many, we talk about it, there were so many group trips out to San Diego. And I imagine that that's helped in your tickets as well, because there's a lot of people that want to experience Petco and go to the gas lamp and things like that. But that doesn't happen usually, every year, I suppose.
Yeah, as a season ticket holder, you just know, and the Yankee series was the ultimate example of that.
Sure.
Of a series where you know that the crowd is in town. Mm-hmm. When Milwaukee comes to town, there's not a giant Brewers contingent that's going to be out there asking for your tickets. Yeah. When Arizona is in town, when Seattle is in town, maybe Atlanta at the end of the I'm just looking right now at the first half schedule. Second half schedule is weaker in terms of team. Pittsburgh, looking at the games you sell, weekend games, there's only 2 LA home games, Tuesday and a Wednesday. The rest of the year, they play on a Tuesday and a Wednesday here at Petco Park. Those are the only 2 more Dodger games the rest of the year. Colorado, a weekend series. Pittsburgh in town. Minnesota in town. The Mets, a weekend series. That used to be a big deal. There's still New York Mets fans, but late August, New York's going to be a complete tire fire. They're going to be out of it. They're going to have sold Alonso. They're going to have sold everybody.
They're going to be focused on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets and the New York Giants.
San Diego.
Right.
Yeah.
They're ready for the NFL at that point.
Detroit, San Francisco in September, Houston, White Sox. That's it, and that's it. That's the end of the home schedule.
Yeah.
So, the resale value for the second half compared to the first half, it's not even close. It's not even close.
I mean, I think this is a good conversation. It's great to hear from guys like Magic. It's great to hear from all the the people in the chat that we're getting who are season ticket holders who have their own opinions on it. And it's like, just good to remember that there's sometimes different reasons for things, and that you can be a fan in different ways, right? Like your fandom doesn't have to look one certain way.
I buy season tickets for my university's football team. I go to one game a year, but I help support the program, and some of the resale is good, but I will always try to have those tickets because it supports my school. It's a little bit different than the Padres, obviously, but everybody's got their own reasons for buying season tickets.
That is exactly right. Let's grab a call here in this segment. We got Steve in Poway. Looks like he's been hanging on. Hi, Steve. You're on with Annie and Elsten.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good, mate.
Yeah, I'm going to go in a different direction here. It's kind of crazy thoughts. I'm kind of wondering. Just to preface it by saying I'm a lifelong Padre fan, but I'm also starting to question if maybe the Padres aren't the problem and the fans are the problem. And I'll tell you why. Maybe we're delusional, and we always think our team is better than it really is, right? And when you go through the lineup and you look at it, Arise has been a great player for him, but prior to him being there, you look at Tatis last year and a half, he's been average at best. Manny Machado, average, probably, if anything, maybe even below average as a hitter the last year and a half. Bogart has been a disaster, in my opinion, especially this year. So there, you got that. Then you got Cronenworth, who's an average hitter. I think he's, average, just an average hitter.
So bottom line, what you're saying, Steve, sorry, just to summarize, because we got folks online. What you're saying is we are putting higher expectations on the team than we should. We should accept them as not being of that level.
Think we always do. I think because we want to win so bad. I mean, look at Campusano. I'm going to finish out the guys. Campusano, it looks like he closes his eyes and swings the bat as hard as he can. Has no idea where the ball's going to go, right? Hashioka is the worst hitter in the league. The first time I see Azakar do anything at the plate to bring anything in, I'll be surprised. But when you look at the overall team and what they do, they are what they are. The record is what it is, yet as fans, we keep saying they're much better, they're much better, they're much better, yet we never see the results of much better. And at some point, maybe we need to accept that they're not that good.
Okay, there you go, Steve. I figured that was the point on that for
maybe
sure.
You need it. Maybe they're a 500 team. Maybe this is a team. Is that what that's kind of what Steve is saying?
It is.
Right?
It's what he's saying. Okay. It's all good, man. Yes. It's not the fans, though. It's not the fans.
I agree.
We have been told by the organization that they are in a championship mindset. That's come from the very top. It came from the previous owner. It came from the current control owner. It comes from the current CEO and president. It comes from the president of baseball operations. They are saying it. They've installed that message in this town for 4 years running. Mm-hmm. So it's not the fans. The Padres aren't going, don't look at us. We're a third-place team. La, 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 come on out. Saturday nights are made for baseball. We know when the Padres were doing that. We lived with those marketing ads for our team, our town, San Diego Padres and me.
When prices were lower, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's not it. It's not coming from the fans. It's coming from the organization. The fans are a mirror of what the organization is saying. And then the media is held to account on both ends of you're amplifying a positive message too much or you're speaking a negative message too much. What we try to do on this show is give you the facts. And what I think has changed since I was a younger baseball fan to now is that baseball teams are afraid of their own facts now in a way that they were not when I was new in this business, where they would put their own negative stats in their own notes. Mm-hmm. Like think just what's going on with the team.
Chicago Cubs would hang the L in center
field.
Right,
hang the L flag, right. And nowadays it's they only put the shiniest aspects forward, and so that leads again to a distorted reflection when it comes to the team.
It's all corporate.
Let's take a break because I got a couple of those numbers that I'll share, and then we'll share some more time with the callers. If you're there and you want to stay on hold, hey, that's up to you. It's all good. 833-288-0973. Annie and Elsten here with you on The Fan. Spicy episode of Annie and Elsten so far today. It led me away from the liner sheet, though, so I got to catch up. This hour of Annie and Elsten is brought to you.
How spicy was it?
No, that's on Friday, match game. This hour of Annie and Elsten brought to you by Express Employment Professionals. If you're ready for a new job, let Express Employment Professionals help you. Express is your one connection for a summer job in a variety of industries, and job seekers never pay a fee at Express. Go to expresspros.com to find your location. That is expresspros.com. All right, Craig, Annie, Braden, back together with you. It occurred to me last night that a lot of times we only see the shiny side. And that leaves us going, well, what's going on? Why don't we score? Let's keep getting mad at Manny and Tatis. They get paid the most, which is a common reflection that we hear, even in callers, online chat, X, whatever. Here's some numbers you might not know that are going on with the San Diego Padres right now. And these are all up to date up through last night's game. Luis Camposano is 3 for 46.
3 for 46.
3 for 46.
So the whole month of May, essentially.
Yeah, just he's a flat nothing. 3 for 46. That's like an 0.30 average.
It's rough.
Yeah. Now, Kyle Higashioka is 8 for 53 for the year, for the whole year. So when you add up Higgy plus the last 46 of Camposano, which is about the same amount as Higgy has, that adds up to 11 for 99. That's what you've gotten from the catching position since basically the beginning of May, is you've gotten 11 for 99.
Catching position traditionally, though, doesn't usually provide you with your dominant offense, right? I mean, you
but
can
that's
you
a
can
111
sacrifice
average. That's a 111 average.
Okay.
111. Like starting pitchers used to hit better than 111.
Yeah.
Like they literally did. They would hit like 130.
Even you, Darvish, can run into a double down the line. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not good. All right.
It's not good, Annie.
It's not
no,
good.
it's not good.
It's really, really, really bad.
Concede that.
It's really, really, really bad. Please, somebody turn off Hannah's phone right now.
Hannah never misses anything.
And she will appear within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
These are just numbers. This is not an
Jake
opinion.
slander.
This is not an opinion.
Slander.
In
Lies and slander.
In his last 15 games,
Liar.
Jake Cronenworth is slashing 203, 226, 305.
They've been facing a lot of left-handers.
Yes, they have.
Anybody want to see his updated fastball
Remember when I
numbers?
got roasted by Hannah for mentioning that he was really bad against lefties, and then he went 5 for 13? He's 0 for everything since.
His last 15 games?
Like,
Yeah.
he is,
Okay.
when he had that tiny little pocket of starting to get singles against lefties, and then it's just been over the last 6 of those. But against both sides, righties,
Yeah,
and
righties and
lefties.
lefties, right, okay.
He's slashing 203, 226, 305.
So there was a pocket of the lineup that was going well.
Yep.
And, I mean, Jacob did very well to start the season, and now it has fallen off a bit.
Yeah,
Correct.
Wait,
Okay.
The weather will get warmer.
Correct. And I remember getting roasted by some of the, I don't know if any of you are on hold right now, but by some of the fans when I said there are so many things going well right now, and they're not going to, it's a long year. And so that's why you need the big boys to come in and do the big lifting.
the big
Oh, yeah,
along
we
the way.
could say, I mean, you need the Tatis and Manny and Xander when he was healthy to start being them.
Right, because these types of players, Camposano, who was red hot for a
Yeah.
month, Crony, who was red hot for a month,
Right.
and the next guy I'm about to bring up, who was red hot for a month, like, they're not going to stay hot forever. And when they don't, and the other guys haven't picked it up, then you get 3 straight games where you give up, where you score 1 run.
Yeah.
Like we've seen. Do you remember this, playing the hits from Manny and Elsten? I was so excited about 3 weeks into the season because Jackson Merrill, in his first 46 at-bats, walked 8 times. Remember how excited I was about that?
Yes.
I got a big sunny smile. I was
Because
like,
we know he can hit, but now you can walk too.
you can walk too. On that day when he drew that 8th walk in L.A., he had a .407 on base percentage, Jackson Merrill. Since then, since that day, April 12th, Jackson Merrill has walked 3 times in 152 at-bats.
Is he just hitting the whole time, Craig? Is he?
He's putting the ball in play.
He is definitely putting the ball in play, but he's got a 1.9% walk rate in his last 152 at-bats. 1.9%. And in his last 15 games, same arbitrary MLB.com split, okay, which is basically a 2-week split.
He did. Yeah, go ahead.
Merrill is slashing 200, 200, 200. So he's just gotten a couple of singles, but no walks, no doubles, no triples, no homers.
You can feel with him. Do you guys agree? I mean, I feel like when he comes to the plate now, you feel with him a little bit of that rookie kind of, okay, things were going really well, and then now he got challenged, he got tested a few times or for a little prolonged, few weeks, and now the league has done some adjusting to him, and this is kind of what we expected from a rookie player. Do you feel that? I sort of feel that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And also, as a point of fact, about 3 weeks ago when we were starting the what's the matter against lefties conversation, one of the major keys that both in this room and listeners, et cetera, said was keep Merrill in there every day. Why is Merrill getting benched? He's not doing anything against left-handed pitching when he's in there. He has been worse than what a Zokar has been.
To me, now he looks like he's pressing a bit.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. The big at-bat for me last night, Annie, was the 7th inning. In the 7th, if you remember, Matt Moore came in. Sandoval had already finished off his 6 innings of dominance. And Ron Washington's like, I got another lefty. I'm going to bring in another lefty. And he brought in Matt Moore, and Matt Moore had a Yuki Matsui level command of the strike zone last night. He walked Ha-Sung Kim, and then he threw 6 balls to Jackson Merrill. Yeah. And Jackson Merrill swung at 3 of the 6 balls, including full count, a pitch that was a ball and a half above the strike zone, and he flew out on that pitch.
I mean, that's where your concern comes in, because if you're the opposing team and you notice that and you see that from, pitchers that he's facing before you face him, you're gonna use that game plan to your advantage every single time. And he's an impressive player. Jackson Merrill, what he's done so far to start the season has been fantastic. And we have talked about he's probably going to hit this slump. And so now the question is, how quickly will he adjust back? But I think what you're pointing out, Craig, is now there's another little pocket of this lineup that has also regressed, even if it's just a little bit, has regressed a bit.
Yeah, that is exactly the point I'm making, is that while we've had our attention rightfully focused on the big guys, some of these candles that were burning brightly are starting to run out. I don't know if they're running out of wax or they're just fading. I don't want to continue the metaphor.
Because we're not getting on Jackson Merrill. Like, Jackson Merrill deserves a chance to grow in the big leagues.
Absolutely.
We
knew
typical.
This would happen.
Right. Yes.
We knew this would happen.
Correct.
But the point is literally pointing out that it happened.
Yes.
Because no one's pointing it out. 3
You're
walks.
pointing out, like a regression in the lineup. Yes.
3 walks and 152 at-bats. This is what we were afraid of with Jackson Merrill, that all of his on-base percentage would be batting average. And that he's not giving you anything if he doesn't get the ball through the infield or into the outfield. So that it's a thing. Campy is off the reservation. He's so bad right now. Jake Cronenworth is struggling. And is there any remedy to it? No, there's no remedy to it. You keep putting him out there. You keep hoping that the next at-bat will be better. But he is struggling, and he is struggling against left-handers. And Jackson Merrill is struggling right now. Yeah. And because he got off to such a great start, you can just look at the scoreboard and go, no, he's hitting 265. That's fine. But that's not what he's been hitting the last month and a half. He has been barely hitting and not walking at all. Lastly, Yuki Matsui. I saw a lot of Yuki Matsui had 7 straight scoreless appearances. He was putting runners on in every one of those appearances. These are the last 15 appearances for Yuki Matsui. 13 1/3 innings, 10 hits, 12 earned runs, 12 walks, 14 strikeouts. He's walked 12 in 13 1/3 innings.
Not ideal.
Almost. Don't you feel like he's not trusting his stuff?
100%.
So here's the hard part about Yuki Matsui, and this is where the Padres staff, I think, you're like, well, why don't you just take him out and do whatever, which I get. But he has signed a 5-year, $28 million deal. Okay, Yuki Matsui is on the books for 5 years, $28 million. They have to get him going, essentially. He is someone that they need him to work. And the hard part about Yuki Matsui is the last 2 games that he's had, he allowed 6 earned runs having faced 7 batters.
Yeah.
So the last 2 games, 6 earned runs over 7 batters. Not good, right? But the 7 outings before that, he threw 7 1/3 scoreless with only 2 hits. He had the 3 walks, though.
He had the walks.
So this is where it becomes like, you don't know what Yuki Matsui you're going to get, but you've seen that he's done well in certain pockets. You can't really let him go right now.
No.
So you got to try to figure out how to use him and hope for the best, kind of.
If Tom Cosgrove was like locked in and pitching great, I would say no egos. Send Yuki to AAA for a couple of weeks. Let him get his stuff straight. Bring Tommy back.
Sure, and maybe you do that.
Tom Cosgrove has an ERA of 19
I
in
don't
AAA.
know if Yuki has
19.
Does Yuki? Oh wait, Tom. Wait,
Tom
what?
Cosgrove is pitching to a 19 ERA with the Chihuahuas. 19.
Is that environment based? Is that
No,
okay,
that's
I don't
terrible.
know.
Double base.
19 is kind of
That goes
ridiculous.
beyond environment.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt for a 7
Tommy.
ERA, but not 19.
19. Okay, 19. Yes. Once you're into double digits, I gotta.
So we cannot.
Pump
We
the
cannot
brakes on
get
my
it.
uncanny Annie stuff, magic. Okay, I also don't know if Yuki, I think it was Usak Go who had the no minors clause. I don't know what Yuki's got.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
not
know
sure
either.
if he's got some, thing in his contract that says, he has to approve the thing to the minors, being sent to the minors. I'm not sure, but Usak Go did.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
and so I don't know exactly what the contract says, but the point being is like you don't necessarily have another reliever that you're bringing in.
Nope.
You kind of got to figure out a way to make him work, and then he's had some good pockets. Now, are you all that surprised that a pitcher coming over from Japan is struggling in the majors his first year in? I'm not.
No, well, not when you look at him.
Right.
Not when you watch him pitch. I mean, if he threw 98, then I would be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I hate to say this, but when I watch Yuki Matsui, I see a pitcher I think would get hammered. He's wild as hell. He's
Fastball
throwing
straight.
He's throwing 45%. His fastball is so straight, and it's coming in at 91, 92. He is entirely dependent on deception with a splitter that has to work off a fastball that isn't close to major league ready, to me, in my opinion. So I think that's why you see him perpetually throwing ball 1, ball 2, trying to get someone to chase a ball that's a foot outside, because I think he's been chased out of the zone by big league hitters right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing too, right? When you have the book out on a guy like that, and that's sort of, what's the game notes are showing you, and guys are watching video or guys are seeing stuff, they're going to capitalize on someone who feels that type of way when they're on the mound. They're going to kind of feast on that and wait for him to give them those pitches. And so you kind of get into this vicious cycle.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it was even a question that could have been asked of Mike Schilt. And it's 1-1 in the 7th. Is that really a spot for Yuki Matsui right now, given the way he's pitching? And then he would say, hey, how about the 7 scoreless innings? But, no. What's going on right now? Like, Wandy Peralta might have been a better call in that spot yesterday. However, listen, I'm really not a big second guesser. You might listen and check in and out on the radio and think that I am, but I'm really not a big second guesser, because you've got to make those decisions in the line of fire in real time, and you have to live with the consequences.
Well, we always talk about this too. Like, you don't know what you don't know. Like, believe me, we do not know everything going on with every pitcher. Like, who is having this kind of day or that kind of soreness or what's happening. Like, there's stuff that's not being said.
You don't know who's not
to us, right?
At USD, I know who's hot. I can't go down and ask Mike Schilt, hey, what's the plan today? Right?
Right.
You just
Right.
can't do that.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised that sometimes, like, you know what? Even though this guy he hasn't pitched in 2 days, he threw 70 pitches in the bullpen warming up yesterday, and we never used him. Those are 70 pitches, right? Like, he still threw 60 to 70 pitches, which is something that you have to factor in. Are they stress pitches? No, but, I mean, you see guys get up and down and up and down, and sometimes it's like, we can't really use him. We burned him yesterday even though he didn't pitch. Those are some of the things that we don't know. It's easy to manage a bullpen when you think everybody's healthy and ready to go at all times, like you're playing MLB The Show. But that's not the case.
Right. You can't look at it like it's just you have everybody good to go every single night. There's a guy that could be, hey, I'm good to go. You call my name, I'll go out on the mound, but he's dealing with some soreness, or they noticed a little dip in the velocity.
Sometimes you got to protect them from themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
The one last thing I'd say about Yuki in that situation is, again, I'm not going to second guess them using him last night. Once they brought him in, they had to have him face 3 batters. He did as unfortunately as poorly as he could do, loading the bases with nobody out, and a little unluck, I guess, on the second batter. And then we know what happened from there. If Mike Schilt brought him into a 1-1 game tonight, I will rip him to shreds
You
tomorrow.
can't use him tonight, can you?
I will rip him to shreds tomorrow.
You talking about Yuki?
On the round table? Yuki, yes.
Yeah,
this is now twice burned. So, Yuki needs to go to the back of the bullpen right now. He needs to go hang out with...
Is he behind Kolek?
He
or
needs
is he
to
in
go
front of
hang out
Kolek?
with Kolek. He and Kolek should be playing marbles.
Oh, God.
They should be together, seated together on the bus, playing marbles, and waiting for the game to be 7 runs plus or minus.
You're telling me that Garrett Crochet is not the final piece of this ball club?
Oh, yes, I am telling you that.
That is correct.
I am telling you that.
That is correct.
100%. Okay, we got to take a break. When we come back, I'm hoping not to shred anybody tomorrow, Matt, but I also don't believe he's going to use Yuki Matsui in a tie game tonight.
I don't think so.
It's just...
If they're in a tie game today after the last 2 games,
You're gonna have Estrada tonight, aren't you? You're gonna have.
Sure.
You should have a pretty.
You should have Wandy, you should
thank
have
goodness
Estrada.
for the starting pitchers who've
Kolek
kept
is fresh
this
as
bullpen
heck.
pretty fresh. Yeah,
this sounds like a Padres. I think the Padres are going to win by 10 today.
I do too.
And
This
then
feels
everybody's
like one
going
of
to be
those
like,
kind
"Yeah,
of
it's
games.
great.
Yeah.
It's great. Everything's great."
Yeah. Well, you might be right about that. You might be right about that.
I'm not putting money on it, but that's my prediction.
Elisa likes the image of Yuki and Stephen Kolek drawing a circle in the sand, getting at their
Flipping
little marble
Marbles.
pouches.
Could you imagine if 2 guys in the bullpen are playing marbles? How many people watching would even know what they're doing?
Right.
Right, kids? What are they doing over there? What's
It's a
going
scene
on?
from Squid Game. What's going on?
I think I saw it in Recess.
Let's take a
the
break.
Cartoon show.
11:37. Let's talk about those trade rumors when we come back. We got into it yesterday because it dropped in real time. I don't know about you, Annie. I thought about it a lot more yesterday.
So did I.
I have a very strong opinion right now.
Oh, I don't even know which way this is heading.
Craig, we always have strong opinions. That makes you can't be showing up with weak opinions.
I have a strong opinion
All right, good.
about this
That
now.
makes it good.
Yeah, and I'll share it with you next. Annie and Elsten on the Fan. Hang on, I told you I was behind on liners. So let's do 2. Listen to Sam Levitt's podcast, Inside San Diego Baseball, where Sam will cover everything going on with the Padres. Find it at 973thefansd.com, the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, join the biggest moments in sports with Prize Picks. Pick your players, pick your stats, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states, must not be a Major League Baseball player betting on baseball. Visit prizepicks.com for details.
It's factual.
Yeah, it's an important disclaimer.
Yeah, please don't beat one of the athletes.
Please don't bet on yourself.
Bet on any other sport.
Bet on
Sure,
your-
you
bet
can
on
do
your-
it.
Bet on yourself in other ways. Just
can do it.
not on an app.
You know, I mean, that's not necessarily a clean path either. I'll have a follow-up story on that in the Sports Fix.
Oh, wow.
Coming up in our next segment. A little bit of a tease for you right there. But first, let's pay off the tease from the previous segment. It was in the final 45 minutes of yesterday's program, Annie, that a Dennis Lin, Ken Rosenthal joint piece dropped saying that the Padres were pursuing left-handed starter Garrett Crochet. Now, within the story itself, and we read a lot of the passages of it live on the air yesterday, Annie, it went beyond like, oh, this is happening, this is going to happen tomorrow, to painting a much more nuanced picture of the White Sox looking to enact a king's ransom and the Padres maybe not having a fit, and that it would be complex and that it would probably take a good deal of time and that nothing was imminent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But nonetheless, that led everyone to do what? Speculate that the Padres will trade for Garrett Crochet today or tomorrow.
My favorite thing, speculation about who the Padres are going to trade for. Can I just say also, AJ Preller is in on so many pursuits. Like if you wrote about every pursuit that he's following, you would never stop writing. It would be an endless thing, you know? So Ken and Dennis must feel like this is very imminent, or not. They actually wrote that it's not imminent, but they must have felt it was enough to write about, and or maybe the organization wanted some other eyes being looked at for Crochet.
At the moment that it dropped and we talked about it, I was of kind of two minds and thinking, okay, Crochet's pitching great, and but also, boy, this feels like a Preller chase the shiny thing kind of move. I thought about it more last night. I watched last night's game, woke up this morning. The Padres, under no circumstances, should be making a trade for Garrett Crochet. I am 100% against this idea.
Why?
Because we are not Garrett Crochet away from the World Series. We're not Garrett Crochet away from the division. We're not Garrett Crochet away from even improving our standings in the Major League Baseball playoff chase. I could hear Don Orsillo in my head last night, echoing as the strains of that completely anonymous MLB song, do or whatever's in the background. He goes, Garrett Crochet, all down by way of the K, 1-1 after 6.
He knitted a great inning there.
Yeah. Great job, Crochet. He struck out 11. It's 1-1. It's not the problem. We've built an organization that has some pitching depth. Do we need a starter? Maybe. We're not one starter away. That's not the final piece. This team has more issues than Garrett Crochet. But what Garrett Crochet will cost is the remainder of your depth. And I have seen this play out twice. In 2021, again, we must be reminded of our history. The Padres aren't going to tell you this stuff. You'll hear it on the flagship, though, because if we don't remember our history, then we just do it again. In 2020, AJ sold the farm. He sold the farm to get Clevenger. He sold the farm to get Nola. He moved 10 players out of the organization. In 2021, when the team needed pitching depth, they looked to the minors and no one was there. And what did we wind up with? Vince Velasquez, Jake Arrieta, 23 losses in 32 games or whatever it was, a 79-83 record. In 2022, we sold the farm to get Juan Soto. Of course, we understand why. And in 2023, when we needed help and depth, we looked to the minors, and nobody was there. And that's the exact position we're going to be in as soon as we make one more deal. We've cleaned out between Cease and Arise 8 players out of the organization to get 2 back. We don't have another 4-for-1 in us. And I'm honestly, I heard Woodsy talking about this morning as I was dropping the kid off, and I'm just like, I've got my chance to disagree a little bit later, but like, no, like I want this team to be not a complete disaster 2 years from now. I don't want to be here showing up and the two of us are staring at a 110-loss season in the face going, well, it's a blanket night. Like, right now, this team needs to prove to me that they are a playoff team, and they need one more thing in order to get over the top for me to agree to clean the cupboard bare this year. Anything short of that, we're just cleaning our cupboard bare to get from 81 wins to 82 wins. What's the big difference?
But what's the big so okay, I have 2 things there. So I actually don't mind him getting. First of all, I don't think I don't think anyone except AJ should be making these decisions and his people. I don't think this should be a Eric's decision, Grupner or Katsenda, because I feel like if these are the people that AJ got, and AJ is going to go down swinging the way he wants to, let AJ do it the way he wants to. That's my personal opinion.
Sure.
Because the new guy's going to come in and get rid of everybody anyway.
But the new guy's going to do whatever he wants. So the second thing is, I don't mind him cleaning out all the cupboards. If cupboards. If it's a word I don't say a lot. If it got back enough of a haul to fix as many problems as you could that the Padres have right now. I agree with you. They're not one problem away.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would say though I'm like, whatever you want to do with the prospects, do it. I'm not a save prospects person, but
you're not a prospect hugger,
right? But I do understand the mentality of like, you want to become this team that builds from within. You have to make that decision. What are you? If you want to be the team that builds from within, then okay, I will be like, cool. That's something that I'm excited to follow you do. They just go back and forth, and that is kind of what confuses me. Whether you're a team that builds from within or you're a team that, because I think AJ doesn't really care about building from within.
Right.
He collects the prospects to go out there and get, players that are proven or that he feels like he can count on or whatever that he can build this team with. And that is his mentality. And you know what? Might not work for everyone, but as long as he's sticking with what his conviction, and he feels like that he's learned from his maybe mistakes of the past to get to this point, then I can subscribe to that. It's just that it goes back and forth. But to the 110 thing, I would say, but are you fine then with, hey, you got a team full of some superstars that are going to put butts in seats most nights? You're going to have those big name guys that maybe people come in and watch or whatever. But you're still going to be kind of a 500 team year after year. Is that better for you than being a 110 loss team?
Yes. First off, yes.
Because you're kind of in the same place. You're not making the World Series. You know what I mean?
The difference is that
at least you're relevant.
You're just relevant, and you're having a better time at the ballpark, maybe.
In Chicago and Florida, the season's over.
Sure.
It's June 5th, and the season's been over.
Listen,
for
we
a
remember
month.
that in San Diego.
100%.
I tell you what, we would all come to Padres, and then the second training camp hit for Chargers, we'd be like, peace out, bye, because the players knew they were out of it, too. There was no making the playoffs.
I think the decision, though, really is, to go back to Craig's point, I agree, you want to be a sustainable team. The question is, when is your window to win? Is it now or is it in the future? And I think they already made that decision. It's now.
Sure.
It's now, right? So you got to go all in while you still can, because you paid Manny and Xander and you paid all those guys. Let's take Xander, for example. You paid him $280 million for 3 years. That's what you did. And the only reason why you stretched it over 11 is so you didn't kill your cap. I'm going to say cap. I know it's not the cap.
Right.
But you don't want to kill your cap so you could build around it, right? No cap. So you're paying him $280 million for 3 years of his prime, and then after that, it's almost like it's deferred. You're just spreading it out so you could use that money to build around him. So to me, it's like they're gonna go after it. And here's the other thing too with AJ Preller. I agree with Annie. If your end game is you got this year and that's it, just let him do his thing, and then you're gonna have to readjust with the new guy anyway. What happened when AJ Preller took over the first time when he became the general manager? started getting rid of everybody he didn't draft and
Well,
he didn't
did,
develop.
but
right?
it doesn't
So
mean they're
that's-
going to trade Ethan Salas. You know, it
I
doesn't
think
mean
that's
the next
the
GM
only
will
that's
trade
the
Ethan Salas.
only guy I think you just need to be. You can't trade him. Everybody else, go ahead and let's see what you got.
Also, him going for it, like Preller going for it, might not work. It might not be successful, but it's just, you have to at some point, like if Preller knows, and I don't know if he knows I don't know what he knows about his future with the Padres, or any of them know what their future at the Padres, or who's going to be the owner, what's going to be happening with this team, right? Like, but if it is, hey, this is your, you go down swinging or whatever, like then he kind of has to go with what he truly believes in his heart is going to be the right way. It might still not work, but it's kind of got to be his conviction that he goes with.
I think I'm believing that as long as the organization stays underneath that competitive balance tax, I bet you it's do whatever you want. You only got $10 million to work with anyway.
Right.
And you know what? Crochet, that's the only reason why they're going after Crochet, because he's not getting a lot of money.
I'm not mad at the concept of A.J. Preller utilizing his minor leagues as a battery. He's done it since 2015.
And I'm not saying it's the right way. It's just his way.
Correct.
There's multiple
However,
ways to skin a cat.
each year we are getting hemmed into a tighter and tighter corner. As now, like you go into next year and it's like $180 something million pre-committed to a set group of players, and then you're trying to build around the edges. And every time that we jettison our future cheap potential players in exchange for the $9, $10, $11 million player that we have under control for a couple of years, that's less flexibility down the road. I understand, that it's a damn the torpedoes situation or whatever, and if they made that clear to us that was the case, that'd be interesting. But again, as a season ticket holder, I am not going to pay for season tickets for a team that is completely useless, but we're paying complete top shelf price because they're going to spend $220 million on an aging roster. Like, the more you lose your flexibility, the less chance you have to get out of it on the other end. That's all. I want us to be good in 5 years. I don't think it's unrealistic.
But wouldn't you rather have them go the best with their core guys in their prime instead of just waiting until later?
Yes, I think they should trade for Dylan Cease and Luis Ariz. Like they've done it. But one more trade isn't going to take us over the top. That was my point of this segment. All right, here we go. 2 hours done, and the 12 o'clock Sports Fix next on The Fan. We're at the exact midpoint of the 5-day work week, 12 o'clock on Wednesday in America's finest city. Halfway home on this edition of Annie and Elsten as well. With Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Soprenik, Craig Elsten with you in our Odyssey studios overlooking Murphy Canyon. Rolling till 2 o'clock when Gwen and Chris will join us from 2 until 5:33. At 5:38, Sam Levitt steps right into this chair for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, 6:38. It is Dylan Cease trying to get us to a 3-3 road trip and to salvage 1 out of 3 against the lowly, moribund LA Angels of Anaheim. And they will throw Jose Soriano against us tonight. And we will enjoy that with Jesse and Tony and Padres baseball at 6:38. But right now, let's get fixed up. Here we go with all the sports news of the day that is for Wednesday, June 5th. We'll start things off. Annie's got all your baseball news.
All right, starting in Las Vegas, Howard Stutz of the Las Vegas Independent writes that the A's are asking to play 8 games. That's 10% of their home schedule away from Las Vegas. So those would be home games that they want to play not at home in Las Vegas once their stadium is built. The reason, at least according to A's president David Kaval, he said the idea of holding 8 games outside of Las Vegas was a way to build the team's brand, promote the club, and attract players and sponsors. What? In the world?
Where?
We can make a tire segment out of that.
No
That's
one
interesting.
knows where.
Can we play in London? Are we going to play back in Sacramento? Where are you going to play?
They want to be the Raiders so bad.
The request to play more than a half dozen home games away from Las Vegas is contained within the team's 37-page proposed 30-year non-relocation agreement and is at least double the amount of negotiated neutral site home games agreed to by other Major League Baseball franchises in their non-relocation agreements. So, you can apparently agree to play these neutral site games, like maybe like Mexico or whatever,
right, yeah.
But they want above and beyond. They just want out of Las Vegas for extra games after you ask your taxpayers to build you a stadium in Las Vegas. It's wild. Okay.
That's
A's,
a crazy
man.
story.
I don't know.
Maybe we should save that for 12:20. All right.
Okay, the hits keep coming for the Astros. The Astros announced yesterday that right-hander Jose Urquidy will, did I say that right?
Yep,
Okay.
Urquidy,
will
yep.
undergo elbow surgery ending his 2024 season. Houston also confirmed that righty Christian Javier will undergo season-ending elbow surgery as well.
It's like their whole team.
Their whole team is undergoing season-ending elbow surgery. The Padres will play Game 3 against the Angels tonight. They will try to get 1 win in Anaheim before returning to San Diego for a 7-game homestand against the Diamondbacks and A's. Tonight it will be Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres and Jose Soriano for the Angels. He is a right-handed pitcher, a converted reliever. Again, decent pitcher, but not untouchable by any means.
Sounds like runs.
Right. This could be with the Padres.
He is considering throwing left-handed tonight for the first time.
He may be. First pitch is at 6:38 p.m. and I believe not on Padres TV.
That is correct. It's on FS1.
But you can always listen to Jesse and Tony on 97.3 The Fan, home of the Padres.
Let's do it. Meanwhile, let's hear what Braden's got for the baseball scoreboard.
We got some games going on already today. The Boston Red Sox up 6-0 on the Atlanta Braves as they have completed 5. In the top half of the 5th inning, Cardinals up 1-0 on the Astros. And the Reds and Rockies about to get underway in Colorado as it's Graham Ashcraft of the Cincinnati Reds going against Dakota Hudson of the Colorado Rockies. Games later on today, the Giants are in Arizona, New York Mets in our nation's capital, Kansas City is in the Guardian City, Brewers in the city of brotherly love, Dodgers at PNC, Rays down in Miami to take on the Marlins, Twins in the Bronx against the Yanks, Orioles north of the border in Toronto, Detroit deep in the heart of Texas against the Rangers, South Side's going to the North Side in the White Sox-Cubs matchup, and the Mariners are in Oakland to take on the Athletics today. And that's a look at your out-of-town scoreboard for June 5th, 2024. On to Craig and the National Bet.
Basketball Association, NBA Finals, WNBA news as well. We do start with off-court news. According to The Athletic's Shams Charania, the LA Lakers are honing in. They have identified J.J. Redick as the front runner for their vacant head coaching job over Pelicans assistant James Borrego.
Please draft Bronny, too.
Please make the podcast like a weekly thing now.
Redick is calling the NBA Finals for ABC. He's going to be there with Mike Breen and Doris Berg on the main broadcast. So any move would not take place until the finals are over, but it looks more and more like podcaster, broadcaster, and former great three-point shooter J.J. Redick is the front runner. Also in that Sham story, by the way, that the Lakers were looking for a consultant in their head coaching search. And Mike Krzyzewski of Duke happened to be that one. Of course, J.J. Redick played at Duke.
All the ties
Sweet.
are tying together.
Hey, let me tell you, J.J. is great. He's going to be terrific. Let me tell you. J.J. Redick has never coached
I'm
above
with Braden. Now
youth basketball.
bring Bronny. Above youth basketball?
Yes. He's never coached above youth basketball. However, he has a strategy podcast with LeBron James.
He's got napkins.
Very, very smart.
Napkins with plays.
He's
Managed games in his head.
He is. Yes! Yes!
He's played NBA 2K a couple of times.
Oh my gosh, he has managed so many games in his head. He and Jace could get together, have a little chit chat. An associate of Jonte Porter. Remember Jonte Porter, the Toronto Raptors backup center who was banned for life from the NBA for betting on himself?
Yeah.
Well,
on an island with
the conspiracy is unraveling. An associate of Jonte Porter was arrested yesterday at New York's John F. Kennedy Airport with a one-way ticket to Australia in his hand, as well as 2 cashier's checks, about $1,600 in cash, and 3 cell phones. Long Fee Pham, who's nicknamed Bruce, was apprehended while trying to board said plane. Pham is one of the bookies who Toronto Raptors backup Jonte Porter reportedly owed a lot of money to in gambling debts. And he told Porter that he would have to do a quote-unquote special to help pay his debts. The special meant him taking himself out of an NBA game on purpose, allowing his co-conspirators to place huge underbets on Porter's individual props for the game.
Oh my God, this reads like a documentary.
Yeah.
I know we will obviously laugh about it a little bit, but that is scary. I mean, you're in dangerous territory when
Yes.
this kind of thing is happening.
Yes. In fact, it's a good follow-up maybe after the fix. But so yeah, now Long Fee Pham picked up at the gate. I'm just trying to go on this one-way trip to Australia. Never mind me. He is under constraints. Last night in the WNBA, the Connecticut Sun became the 7th team in league history to start the season 9-0, beating the 0-9 Washington Mystics 76-59. Each of the previous 6 went on to the WNBA Finals. Tonight, Vegas is at Dallas, Minnesota is at LA. And now we are at the point where we switch to a short Stanley Cup Finals update with Annie.
The Stanley Cup Finals begin on Saturday in Sunrise, Florida, with Game 1 between the Edmonton Oilers and Florida Panthers. Canada hasn't seen one of their teams lift the cup since the Montreal Canadiens in 1993, and only 6 Canadian teams have made the finals since then, all falling short. The Panthers have never won the cup, but have reached the finals in back-to-back seasons. We'll have a preview of the finals on Friday's show. Longtime San Jose Sharks star Joe Pavelski was trying to win a cup with Dallas, but after the Stars were eliminated in the Western Conference Finals, Pavelski announced his retirement today. The 40-year-old played 18 seasons in the NFL, 13 with the Sharks, the last 5 with the Stars. His body has probably been so beat up over that many seasons.
He was like, I'm done.
Yeah, he's like, I'm done losing teeth. I'm done getting run into. I'm actually surprised Canada has not won more.
Yeah. It's been 31 years. 31 years since they've lifted the cup.
Okay.
It's a good reason to root for Edmonton if you want to root for Edmonton. Let's go back to Braden. What do you got for us?
Not too much to report on in the
all good.
high school and college realm, since most of school is
school's
done.
out. School's out.
School's out for summer.
Schools
You
out
know.
for summer.
Indeed.
Portland Mazur lost today in their elimination game in the College World Series for Division II, so their season has come to a conclusion. But they made it all the way to the College World Series tournaments. 0-2 there, but a great year for Point Loma Nazarene baseball. We talked about USD getting eliminated over the weekend, but that's basically it. on the high school and college front.
All right. Well, I got a highlight for you, though, in my final report, Braden, which is covering the world of soccer and now the Olympics as well. Olympics coming this summer in Paris. The U.S. women's national team played South Korea last night in a driving rainstorm in Minnesota. They pulled out a 3-0 victory, giving new head coach Emma Hayes 2 wins in 2 friendly matches. The story of the night, though, and it's one to keep an eye on, 16-year-old Lily Johannes. She was subbed into the match in the 72nd minute. 10 minutes later, this is what happened.
And it's going to be fun to watch her grow over the years.
Played out towards the edge of the box here. Trinity Rodman with the cross in towards Lily Johannes! On her debut, Lily Johannes scores! What a moment for the 16-year-old! And you can see what it means to everybody.
Lily Johannes gets that 3rd goal. She's the 3rd youngest player in the history of the national team to put one in the back of the net.
That's cool.
A possible selection for the Summer Olympics in Paris. Speaking of which, a little off of the beaten path, but congrats to former La Costa Canyon High School standout, Arizona star basketball player, 7-year NBA veteran Chase Budinger. Chase Budinger is qualified for the Summer Olympics in beach volleyball. Budinger retired from the NBA in 2017, debuted on the AVP Beach Volleyball Tour as a professional in 2018. He has worked his way up the world rankings, and yesterday, he and his partner Miles Evans clinched the United States' 2nd and final team berth for the Paris Olympics. That's where the 36-year-old, who's 6'7", is going to go for gold. Congrats to Chase Budinger.
Yes.
I used to call his high school basketball games.
Oh, that's
back
cool.
at La Costa Canyon.
The full circle.
I'm telling you, before he was a scholarship athlete at Arizona, huge recruit. It was a big-time story when Budinger was recruited by Arizona, went on to the NBA, drafted in the 1st round, or 2nd round, pardon me. But yeah, now he's going to play beach, and he was a great high school volleyball player.
Yeah.
But when he went into the basketball world, Arizona didn't even have a men's volleyball program. So he kind of just put that aside, went back to it, 2nd act of his professional career. Here he is.
Super cool. Hey, how about that when you're that talented that you can just go back to something else and then thrive in it?
Must be nice to be athletically gifted. Lastly, but not leastly, in Cary, North Carolina, the 2nd edition of TST 7v7, the $1 million tournament, began today. A field of 64 teams have bought into the tournament, at the end of which one team will win $1 million, winner take all, split amongst the group. Most of indoor soccer's stars are dotting rosters around the tournament, including several San Diego Soccers. Defending champion Newtown Pride FC features the Soccers' Gabriel Costa, Charlie Gonzalez, and Tavoy Morgan. They already won their first match this morning. And as we wrap up the fix, this is a really big deal, TST. A lot of the matches are airing on ESPN. I believe I don't know where the championship was. It aired on NBC last year. I'm not sure where it is this year, but it's going to be over the air. But like J.J. Watt has a team. Pat McAfee has a team.
So it's cool.
Chad Johnson has a team. So on one level, you've got like some pro indoor players. You've got a lot of teams overseas. Like Wrexham has put a team into TST. A lot of overseas clubs, Spanish clubs have put a team in. But you've also got these teams that are being put in, like Pat McAfee put a team together. I just saw a highlight on my Twitter of J.J. Watt hitting the crossbar. Like he's out there playing. Like he's out there playing soccer.
So it'll get some hype from just that angle too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really cool format. If you go and look for it, look for TST, the soccer tournament. But the thing I love about it is they play 2 short halves, like maybe 20-minute halves. And then no matter what the score is, you play to golden goals. So let's just say that it was 2-0, right? 2-0, Team A is leading Team B. Now, the next 5 minutes, the target score is now 3. So whichever team gets to 3 goals will win the game. So either the team up 2-0 will score 1 more goal and win the game, or the other team could score 3 goals and win the game.
That's cool.
But every 5 minutes, they take 1 player from each team off the field. Oh. So it starts as 7v7, then it's 6v6, then it's 5v5, then it's 4v4.
It's like the worst players go first.
Yeah, right. So but at some point, it's like the goalkeepers coming up challenging each other on the field. But every game ends on a goal.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's cool. It keeps you interested, keeps you engaged, right? Could probably be beneficial to some sports that have
Right.
lost that kind of engagement. What does TST stand for?
The soccer tournament.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, testy.
Testy. 1, 2, 3.
That's pretty cool. So do they show that like on ESPN?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
like all these early matches are on ESPN Plus. I'll look up where the broadcast is because last year it was Peacock and then NBC, and it was on NBC. So I will find out and I will let you know. But that's it for the Sports Fix today for June 5th, 2024. When we come back, we got to get back into that A's story.
That's so I'll recap the A story and give you a little bit more detail since it's it kind of just hit today and then now everybody's sort of following up on it.
Yeah.
But the A's, man, they can't even. There's more to it. So yeah, we'll get into it after the break.
Cray A's. When we return, Andy and Elsten on the Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by the San Diego County Fair. Share your memories from the 50s to the 90s for the Let's Go Retro Photo Contest at the County Fair. Your winning photo could win Best of Show and a VIP Fair Access Package, plus a $500 Visa gift card. Entry deadline is June 9th. You can learn more at sdfair.com. All right. We'll be giving away a pair of fair tickets when we play Fast Money coming up in Silly Games, which is our next segment here on Annie and Elsten. Annie Heilbrunn, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprano, back with you. Just got through the sports fix. Thought it would be a good time to kind of circle back on a couple of those stories. And starting with the Athletics. What the hell are the Athletics doing?
So the Oakland A's, who will only be the A's after this year, right?
Yeah, they're just the Athletics.
They're just the Athletics, yeah.
That's dumb move number one.
Right.
Yeah.
So to recap, they're going to, what is their? Sacramento to play for at least 3 years?
Three, I think now. 3 years.
In
Minimum.
the River Cats.
Right. The
Sure.
home, Rayleigh Field, the home of the Sacramento River Cats, the Giants AAA affiliate.
Yeah, so a minor league ballpark. While their stadium is supposed to start getting built, or is getting built apparently, in Las Vegas. In fact, Paul Reindl, who's on the morning show, was just in Vegas and said that, drove past the Tropicana where it's being torn down to build this stadium, right? So the construction has started, at least in tearing what's already there down. So this is being partly funded, or as long as it doesn't get caught up in more litigation, partly funded by the city of Las Vegas. The taxpayers approved to fund at least part of it, all right? So this story came out that as part of the A's non-relocation agreement, they want to have additional games that you can play outside of Vegas that are considered like neutral games. So home games that you would have in Vegas will instead be played at neutral sites. This happens all the time in Major League Baseball. You see it with the Padres, a few games here in Korea, a few games there in Mexico. It's there is that usually in a contract that you can stipulate, but the number is double. The A's are asking for double the amount of games. So this isn't just like international or overseas. This is plus 4 or 5 extra that we don't even know where they're going to be.
Right.
They're just not going to be in the A's stadium. They're not going to be in Las Vegas. Now, what this article now today in more articles have come out have talked about is like that takes away from the money that the A's stadium can make to pay off the building of the A's stadium in Las Vegas. So you're literally taking out of the pocketbook of your own stadium. And I don't really get his reasoning. He says the president of the A's says it's to build our brand and attract players and sponsors. So the number allows for flexibility on their ability to do that. But how? Well, they're not the Raiders. They're not the Cowboys.
Yeah. No one wants to watch
They're not
the
the
A's.
Yankees. Like, where are they trying to build their brand outside of Vegas?
That's what's got me so confused. Okay, you are the team that held Oakland hostage, leveraged things against other things, leveraged Vegas against Oakland, came incorrect to the Oakland City Council, then tried to hold them against you, tried to make them the villain. You've moved down the freeway, down the 99. You've moved to Sacramento, but all of it's supposed to be building to Vegas. So if you're an Athletics fan, I don't know who the hell is, or who would be, but let's say that you are a Las Vegas resident who has not connected to a team. You've cheered your AAA team on for years, and you've always dreamed of having a big league team, and now the A's are going to be your team. So you're like, okay, now I'm an A's fan. Now I can't wait. The A's are building to come to me. They're coming to my city. Oh, wait, except 8 out of 81 games, almost 10% of the schedule
10%. Mm-hmm.
is going to be not here. And we're building our brand. What? You're going to go play in Henderson? You're going to go play in I don't know.
Yeah, what did they say?
North Phoenix?
they
Destinations
don't.
to play.
They don't say where they want to play, at least not yet. They just say that they want the flexibility to be able to play in other places.
They're going to do the Chrome Ball tour, but with games throughout Nevada.
Well, Charisma just brought up the Golden Knights are Las Vegas's team. They're an expansion team. They were
started
born
there.
in Vegas. Exactly. They
Right.
are Vegas. Vegas people don't didn't just welcome that. They love the Golden Knights. And of course the Golden Knights were incredibly successful right away. But I
expansion
firmly
draft
believe
was kind of ridiculous.
And it was completely ridiculous. But I firmly believe if the Golden Knights were mid, that Vegas would love them and support them intensely anyways, because they're the first team that said, we are Vegas. Oakland is saying, like, no, we're Vegas, but we're also maybe, I don't know, something else.
It's confusing.
Play in the Inland Empire.
Yeah, I mean, it's confusing to fans or whoever is even paying, taxpayers. It's confusing, it's frustrating, and it's also like, what is this really achieving? What?
I believe what Craig Calcaterra wrote in his newsletter this morning about this. I don't think they're ever going to Las Vegas.
I don't think so either.
I don't think they're going to. I don't think any of this is going to happen. I think it's all just nonsense. That statement right there. Like if you were in Las Vegas and if you're the mayor of Vegas, if you're somebody that's involved in this process,
Right.
and you get this story, it comes across your desk, and the pull quote from Caval is building our brand. Like, you build your brand here, man.
Yeah.
Sin City, this is your brand. You build it right here on the corner of Tropicana and Las Vegas Avenue.
I mean, what a place to be, by the way. You are right there. You are right there in the middle of the action. There should be people, if they're going to come to your game, they don't want to see you play at a neutral home site game at the Sacramento River Cats. They want to come to Las Vegas and see your brand new, beautiful stadium and be part of the Strip and experience it. Like, if you're having to do that, is it to continue playing some games? Is this kind of like the bedfellows that he's made with the Sacramento River Cats?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That sounds like what it is.
But he says so. But this is where is the bottom here? Before a shovel has even gone into the ground in terms of building the stadium in Vegas. Like I said, they're tearing things down, but like they have not built it yet.
So they said
more of this is coming out. Like, where is the bottom here of the craziness?
They said 8 games in a different location. Is
Yeah,
that what it
and-
specifically said.
And that's in a neutral site location that can be considered a home game, and that's double. So
That's the River Cats, right? I mean, come on.
Maybe,
Right? Where
yeah.
else would they be playing? Like, are they going to go play in another major league ballpark?
Right? Are they going to be like,
Like,
hey,
they play
can we come
4
play
here
the
at
Padres?
Petco? Right. Like, where are they going
So
to
we
play?
can try to get some of your fans.
Where would they play? Like minor league state? There's no logical explanation aside from they made a deal with the River Cats, and now they're like, hey, like, what if we do this? And it's like, because if you're the River Cats, like, oh, it'd be great to have regular season games here for a while, right?
Yeah.
The MLB teams are here for a while.
This is probably a fleece move anyhow. This is probably something just to get Vivek off their back. The owner of the Kings, who's their co-conspirator in this whole Sacramento side. Like,
I think it's a Sacramento thing.
how crappy. Just now, please try to empathize with a Sacramentoian. I don't know how you say a denizen of Sacramento.
Someone that lives in Sacramento.
A Sacramento
Let's keep
native.
it simple here.
All right. Who you've had AAA baseball for years. You had the A's affiliate, it switched to the Giants affiliate, but you've had AAA baseball at Wrigley Field for years. Generations have gone to the games.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've dreamed of being a big league town. And this is like I don't even know what it is. It's like a planned affair or something. It feels so unseemly that Oakland just comes in for 3 years, struts around your place, changes some stuff, and then leaves, but like shows up again every couple of months for a weekend. Like, why?
Yeah, I mean, you build this brand new, supposedly should be beautiful stadium, this work of art over there,
Right.
on Las Vegas Boulevard or the Strip or whatever. Like, you want to be there. That is like your gem. That is your treasure. That is your whatever you want to call it, where it lights up green and it says, we are the A's, and everybody come see us, and you can view out to the Strip and all that, the renderings that we saw of people. So why wouldn't you want to be there?
They have done everything wrong and have gotten rewarded with Vegas as the promised land, and they still might screw it up by going like, we'll go somewhere else.
No, I mean, Vegas or
London, go ahead. They
Yeah.
could be the Jaguars of Major League Baseball.
maybe they'd like to play in Jacksonville. Maybe they'd like to play in Nashville.
Yeah, they can go play where the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors play. They can go play in Hawaii.
I'm having people are sending me stuff and I haven't had time to like vet it, but the thought is what you're saying, what you kind of both you're saying is like, are they even going to build there? That the A's haven't presented any information about how they're going to pay for the stadium. So like we were mentioning, the taxes are going to pay for like part of it, but like only like 200 million or whatever of the I don't know, whatever. The
They're
A's are on
big
the
money.
hook for a lot of money when it comes to building the stadium. So
They're not getting a roof, and now all of a sudden they're like, we can only play in the spring and October, and then after that,
right,
we're
like,
gonna
are
have
they
to
even
go
building it?
somewhere
Like, is this even
else.
happening? Yeah, exactly.
We don't have enough money for the roof, so we can't play any home games in the middle of the summer.
We'd like to appeal to go just somewhere cooler, please.
Yeah, maybe
Because
just stay
MLB
in
won't let us
summer.
only play night
We
games.
can't afford the conditioning, the air conditioning.
Yeah,
right.
by the way, it's hot AF in Sacramento too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It is
it's very
miserably
hot.
hot. Miserably
It's like
hot in
115.
Sacramento. Yeah, and it's
And
stuffy.
muggy, yeah.
Yes, it's stuffy and muggy. It is not pleasant in the summer in Sacramento. I told you we're planning our family trip, and it was kind of like, well, it's on the way. We could stop in Sacramento. I was like, but
But it's
why?
Sacramento.
But why?
That's so funny. My
The capital's air conditioned. I know that. But.
my sister landed from the airport, like from Nashville the other day, and she was like, "It's good to be home." I feel sorry for those continuing on to Sacramento that had to stay on the plane, land in San Diego, and it's like, I wish I was getting off here, but home is Sacramento.
So the A's are cray-cray. The other one I wanted to follow up on a little bit was that Jonte Porter story, because I feel like as we continued through the Tuca conversations the last couple of days and continued to wade into this pit of black goo that is the confluence of professional sports and professional gambling, one of the things that's kind of being tossed out there is like, hey, listen, you're a pro player. Go gamble on whatever you want. Like, it doesn't matter. Just don't gamble on your sport. But Jonte Porter is a perfect example of what happens even when that occurs, which is Jonte Porter racked up some untold debt gambling on other sports. And then the bookmaker says, you got to do a special. So
The bookmaker says you got to do a special. Sounds so like your kneecaps are going to get popped off, you know?
you got to do a special.
Yeah, you got to do it. Time for your special, buddy. I mean, that's like in a back room or something, you know? Like what? So essentially, they're telling him he had to pull the game or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like he had to
throw his own.
the game. Thank you.
He's not. So that kid was not playing enough to actually throw a Raptors game in terms of the spread because he doesn't play enough. But amazingly, and this is the kind of thing it blows my mind. This has grown so far that the 12th guy on an NBA roster would have a regular season plus minus across the board. Like, you can bet if Jonte Porter will score 3.5 points or less than 3.5 points. And so the special was that 4 different guys combined in different places to put huge bets, and in one case a parlay bet across the board on unders on Jonte Porter. Jonte under 4 points, Jonte under 2 rebounds, Jonte under a half assist. And then Porter went into the game, pulled himself 3 minutes in, like ran up and down the court a couple of times, not grabbing rebounds or taking shots, and then pulled
Running
himself
away from the ball.
Yeah.
Right, essentially, yeah, just running your lane, running up and down,
Right.
I'm not gonna touch that.
Yeah.
guarding a
I'm not
guy,
open.
Grab it. Why aren't you grab it?
moving the hands, doing the hands thing, and then he pulled himself and he said that someone scratched his eye, which wasn't true, and then therefore the special went through and all the unders cashed, but
So he should have been off the hook there, right?
with his bookie friends.
Okay.
Right. But the problem is, of course, people don't usually bet $15,000 on Jonte Porter unders. So they were flagged. Everything was flagged because it made no
Dumb.
sense.
Yeah, they're like,
Terrible get back right there.
Right.
That's bad on the bookie's part.
it's too obvious.
He outed himself.
He did.
So then the feds or whoever gets involved and says, wait a second, this looks suspicious.
Yep.
And then when is he trying to flee the country? Like,
It was yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
Yesterday, this associate was caught at John F. Kennedy Airport holding 3 cell phones, 2 cashier's checks for $8,000.
this is the bookie's associate.
This is one of the people who
Okay.
put Jonte in the blender.
Okay.
Long
This
fee
is
fan.
just bad all around.
Long
okay.
fee fan.
That sounds like was that movie 16 Candles?
Yeah. Long duck dong.
Yeah.
But long fee fam. I mean, the part of it is colorful, but the larger point is like the deeper we get in, the more this is going to happen. Tucapita Marcano is another example. Here is somebody who gambled about like a quarter of his salary that year on games and just lost and lost and lost and lost. Amazing how much he lost. But here we are. Like, well, hey, just don't gamble on your team. You know what actually kind of killed me? Just as not for nothing, but I completely do understand being sympathetic towards Tucupita Marcano. But when we say he just made a mistake, he bet 150 times.
Yeah, no, he bet like a 400 times.
Yeah,
he
like
made it was to the
he
tune
made
of
a whole lot of mistakes.
$150,000. No, I think he had decided this was going to be him, and
right.
I'm definitely not saying he doesn't. Obviously, yes, you cannot bet. You cannot bet on your teams. You cannot bet against your teams. You cannot have bet on baseball. When you are a baseball player, the consequences were coming for the actions there. I think it's more of just like, again, a kid from Venezuela. I'm not saying he had the responsibility upon himself for sure, but at 21, 22 years old, he did a dumb thing. And I'm just not going to sit up here and be like, I'm not going to pile on.
No, for sure. Well, look, the damage is done.
Right.
He's going to play in the Mexican League or the Venezuelan League or Japanese or whatever the rest of his career. He's never going to play in the Major League or the Associated Minor Leagues or the World Baseball Classic. Like, he can't represent his country in that. So,
no, he's going to go back to his country and probably be like I said, like a shame. Like, he's from this small town that he was named after because his dad was the most talented baseball player in this town in Venezuela, and they used to call his dad Tucupita as a nickname because he was known for his baseball, talents from this little town in Venezuela, and so then he named his son that, so this is going to be something for him that's going to have probably even more harsher consequences when he goes home because he can't.
That's true.
He's not a citizen. He doesn't stay here. Really, I don't think.
He'll be back.
He goes back to his home country.
Right. You're not going to have a working visa because you won't be in the major leagues. So, I mean, I guess bottom line for me is that these are cases 1 and 2 of, I'm afraid, hundreds to come. Because it's the confluence of the money you have as a professional athlete with now the ease and availability to be able to start gambling. And by the
way, being young, being in your 18, 19, 20s, whatever, and having all this money and this free time. And again, it is his responsibility. But does
anybody remember the former Vanderbilt quarterback that on a podcast said it's rampant in the SEC with the gambling and the bookies showing up and offering hundreds of thousands of dollars for guys to blow games and throw games in order to win money, and everybody was like, that's kind of crazy. I don't really believe that. And now we've gotten all these pro stories coming out. Is it as crazy anymore?
I believed it the day I heard
I know.
it.
I was like, I don't know. And I remember talking to people like, there's no way that's happening. I'm like, I don't know.
No, it's happening. I completely believe it's happening.
I had to go back and watch that podcast.
I believed it day one. But this is just further example. It's all happening, and it's now starting to bubble up. All right, we got to take a break, and when we come back, it's time for Silly Games.
What game are we playing today?
Fast Money.
Oh, I got to tell my mom. Thank you.
Mom loves Fast Money.
She loves them all, but I think she particularly loves Fast Money.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It is the bonus round from Family Feud, and so we are looking for a contestant right now. Phone line is open, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. You are playing for a pair of tickets to the San Diego County Fair to see Kings of Late Night, Jay Leno, Craig Ferguson, and Arsenio Hall performing live June 21st. The fair opens on June 12th. Get your tickets now at sdfair.com. Let's go retro. We will play Fast Money when we come back. Give us a call, 833-288-0973 if you want to be our contestant right here. Silly Games next on The Fan. The NBA Finals begin tomorrow. Inside the Green Room with Danny Green is a podcast that takes you beyond the scoreboard. Join three-time NBA champion Danny Green for insight on the association you won't hear anywhere else. Follow Inside the Green Room with Danny Green in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, it is almost 12:45. It's 12:47. It is time for Silly Games, and today's silly game is fast.
So threatening.
Here we
Good
go.
luck. You'll need
You'll
it.
need it. Not really. We need the luck,
we
honestly.
rarely win this game, so.
I think we'll need it, big voice guy. All right, it's time for Fast Money, and today's contestant is Francisco in Chula Vista. Hi, Francisco. How are you?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing great, brother. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, from Chula Vista, born and raised, and then I just love the Padres. So.
Good enough for us. We appreciate it. Here's the deal. It's Fast Money. The game is very simple. You're going to pick your opponent. You can go against me or you can go against Annie. Whoever you pick will leave the studio. Then Braden has 5 questions for you of a recent poll given to our most recent studio audience here for Annie and Elsten. You're going to be looking for the most popular answer of those 5 questions asked. You'll have 60 seconds to give your answers. When you're done, either Annie or myself will return. We cannot repeat your answers. And whoever wins, wins. And if you win, you will get 2 tickets to the San Diego County Fair, and on June 21st, a chance to see Kings of Late Night featuring Jay Leno, Craig Ferguson, and Arsenio Hall. Sound good?
Roger that. Sounds good.
Who do you want to play?
Annie.
All righty, Annie.
See you in a bit.
Annie is leaving the studio. We will turn things over to the Ray Combs of his generation, Braden Soprano.
All right, Francisco, 1 minute on the clock to answer these 5 questions. If you get stumped and you want to go back, you can say pass. We can go back later if time permits.
I'll write them down for you, too.
Try to go as fast as possible. All right, you got the answers right now,
I got them.
Tim?
I'm going to write them down for you.
All right. 1 minute on the clock starts after I read the first question. Name something in a bakery a baker might call his wife.
Honey bun.
Honey buns.
Good answer.
Good answers, right. Name something in a person's closet that only comes out on special occasions.
Tuxedo.
Tuxedo.
Okay.
If you could go to the land of Oz, what would you ask the wizard for?
More time.
What'd you say?
More
what?
time.
More time.
More time.
Time. All right.
Okay.
Name something you might see a commercial for during a baseball game.
Beer.
Beer commercial.
Good answer.
And this is question number 5, correct?
Yep.
Tell me a word that rhymes with election.
Election. Fixation? Oh.
Sensation.
Election?
Sensation? I mean, it ends in shun.
All right.
Those
sounds
are your
good.
answers,
Those are your
Francisco.
answers. You're out of time.
All right, buddy. Let's see if Annie does as well or better. All right, Annie, Francisco's answers are locked in.
I need to kind of rewrite them down so I can buzz and ding.
Right. Okay.
I think I remember all of them, though.
Okay, I've got them right here if you need them. That's why I'm your stenographer now.
Yeah, instead of
for
trying
Fast
to
Money.
write it down while I ask questions.
I noticed that was an inefficiency within the game, so I thought I'd try and fix it.
Inefficient. I got them all, though.
Okay, good. All right.
All right, 1 minute on the clock. Annie,
Okay.
starting after this first question. Name something in a bakery a baker might call his wife.
Honey.
Try again.
Cupcake.
Cupcake.
That will work. Name something in a person's closet that only comes out on special occasions.
Tuxedo.
Try again.
We already did this one. So I said prom dress. Okay. Something that already special occasion.
Adam might have found this while you were away.
Yeah, I think Adam found this one. Tuxedo. Suit.
Suit.
Does that count?
Sure.
No.
Oh.
Okay.
Fancy shoes.
Shoes.
Nice lingerie.
We're going with shoes.
Okay.
If you could go to the land of Oz, what would you ask the wizard for?
I would ask the wizard to go home.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Name something you might see a commercial for during a baseball game.
The Padres promotional
Exactly.
thing.
Is that really your answer?
Yeah, that's going to be my answer
That's
today.
oddly specific.
The Padres
Are you
promotional
sure you want to
commercial.
make that your answer?
What's the next question, kiddo?
Tell me a word that rhymes with election.
Selection.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep, that's one of them.
That would be one for sure. Our answers are in. Let's reveal
All right.
who's going to win Fast Money today, Francisco or Annie.
Okay, where's the there it
Promo
is.
schedule.
Promotion?
That's the right answer.
I
Here in
gave
San
you an
Diego.
answer.
By the way, they changed the music on it.
I know they
And
did.
it's lovely.
They
did
chopped
a nice,
off the front end, too.
Yeah, they did a nice job. Yeah. Not that the first music was bad. It just was hard to hear every single inning, every single
Well,
game.
and we'll ask you in 2 weeks, Annie, if you
Okay.
still agree with that.
Okay.
Name something at a bakery a baker might call his wife. Francisco said
Honey bun.
honey buns, which is actually honey and buns on the answer sheet. 32 points. Number one
32.
answer for
Okay.
Francisco.
I got that right the last time.
Yes, you did.
You did. Name something about Annie went with
Cupcake. Hey, Cupcake.
That is correct. 8 points.
Oh, really?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
32 days.
There's a lot of options on there. Second one was bad. Name something in a person's closet that only comes out on special occasions. Francisco said a tux.
Sure.
That is number one answer. 35 points.
No one has a tux. They rent them.
I agree. And he said shoes. 6 points.
All right.
Just shoes. If you go to the land of Oz, what would you ask the wizard for? Francisco said more time.
I like it, Francisco. Oh, wow. Wow.
Zero.
I like the answer, though.
I mean, it's a good answer.
It is. It's very deep.
Wasn't in the movie, though.
Okay, well.
And he
neither-
said to go home.
What? The answers were like a better body and $1 million.
No,
That-
it's heart, brains.
those were not
courage.
the answers.
Money was number one.
Yeah.
We don't have time for this. We'll get to the next
Okay.
one. Name something you might see a commercial for during a baseball game. Francisco said beer. 4 points.
4 points. 4 points.
Don't worry, Francisco, you're winning.
Yeah, I know. You're going to
Because
win.
I know
easy.
Padres commercial is not going to have any points.
Strangely zero.
Baseball games and tickets.
Oh!
Are we going to count that?
Yes,
Craig?
why not?
25 points for
Oh,
Annie.
yeah, let's go.
Promotional.
You're still up by like 50. Don't worry. All right. Well, although,
Tell me a word that rhymes with election.
yeah.
Francisco said sensation.
Sensation. Yeah, not,
That
it doesn't
rhyme.
really rhyme.
Not really.
However,
Annie
selection
said
does.
selection. That was the number one answer. 32 points
Oh,
for
not enough,
Annie.
not
Not enough.
But not
enough.
enough.
Good
Francisco
job, Francisco.
gets the dub.
I think we need Francisco. Stay right there. Braden will get your stuff during the break.
We'll get the answers when we come back.
You might need an Excel spreadsheet of fast money topics
Oh, that's just what Braden wants. Another
to
thing
avoid double
to have to
dipping
do.
on the old tuxedo there.
Well, I've never done this one, so it's not my
That's
fault.
fair.
Do you think was it Adam that did it?
It might have been.
Okay.
It might have been.
Okay.
It's new to you.
It was new to Francisco, maybe.
It was because he would have. We've had clean sweeps before. So.
That's
Yeah,
true.
he
That's
would already
true.
known the answers.
All right. Hour number 4 of the show after this. Hour number 4 of the program. Welcome back, everybody. Annie and Elsten here with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Annie Heilbrunn is here. So's Braden Suprenant. I'm Craig Elsten. I'm here, too. We're all together in our Odyssey studios. One more hour of today's show. Gwen and Chris take over at 2 o'clock. Sam Levitt and the EcoWater SoCal's Padres pregame show today at 5:38. They will play at 6:38. The Padres and Angels tonight, wrapping up a 3-game set from the Big A, wrapping up a 6-game road trip in which the Padres started 2-0, led Game 3 by 2 in the 9th inning to go 3-0, lost that one, and have dropped 3 straight.
How can they end this road trip? What is their best
3-3 or 2-4.
Okay.
All right. I got the fast money answers real quick.
Please do.
Okay.
Name something a baker might call his wife, honey/buns, his oven.
His oven?
Ugh. Cringe. Sweet, sweetie, cupcake, muffin, sugar, donut, doughy. There's a lot of answers for that.
Doughy?
I don't think a baker would ever call his wife doughy. 4 people said so. 4 people just got divorced.
4 divorced men.
Yeah, exactly. Name something in a person's closet that only comes out on special occasions. Suit/tux, dress, jewelry, dress shoes, shotgun.
Shotgun?
Wow.
Also 4 people, so it might be the doughy people have also put shotgun.
We're out in East County now.
Somebody is really upset. Some East County bakers, I guess. Shotgun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shotgun.
If you could go to the land of Oz, what would you ask the wizard for? Money, health, a new heart, a brain, hot bod,
Hey, man, I want a hot bod.
peace on earth, love, happiness, magic power to fly. Love was 4. It's the shotgun and the doughy person. Those 4 people again.
Because they're loveless now.
That's right.
Yeah.
They've been chased out of their house with a shotgun by their doughy wife, and now they need love. Asking the wizard for love.
You know what? And they're the target audience for the 4 people on the beer commercial that you see during a baseball game. Car/truck, baseball equipment/jerseys. Second answer, baseball game/tickets. And his promotional answer, restaurants, medication, and beer. 4 people said beer. It's the same 4 people.
Underrepresented.
Tell me a word that rhymes with election, selection, erection, perfection, detection, protection, rejection. 4 people said rejection.
Of course they did.
Collection and section were your answers.
Oh,
the 4
man.
people just had some miserable group.
Those silly
I
4.
find it ironic that the 4 people that said doughy for what they would call their wife also had shotgun coming out of the closet. 4 with happiness and love, 4 for beer commercials, and 4 for rejection.
Rejection.
That's a sad sap of 4 dudes hanging out.
They all came to the
And they went
showing
to the
together.
show.
Yeah.
They all came to the show together.
It must have been the Friday night showing.
They wore
Family Feud.
matching T-shirts. The
With
boys.
the clouds on them.
They're
or
the
something.
4.
Yeah.
They're the 4 boys that went to their 5th friend's bachelor party to the Family Feud.
They
showing.
call us the Bag Boys.
That it's a full circle now.
Bag boys, bag boys.
Don't sing it, please stop. Don't make me play the Sandstorm version of that. Get it for a buck. Dave Single, get it for a buck.
We may have heard our own commercials a couple too many times. Okay, couple quick show resets. I've actually very much enjoyed our non-Padres portion of the show.
Well, that is because we're not discussing a Padres win. In fact, it's been 3 straight losses in 3 very winnable games with great appearances by starting pitchers.
To a really bad team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
A
why.
really bad team.
That's why. Because I took another circuit on the Big Dipper there, the Giant Dipper.
You know, I had a friend text me just now a little bit and was like, my new analogy, the Padres are a merry-go-round, not a roller coaster. Never that good, never that bad, and never all that much fun.
Yeah,
They're the
that's
ones
fair.
Is that fair?
They're
I
the
don't know.
merry-go-round
Okay.
that doesn't have the ring game as part of the merry-go-round.
Yeah, where you're trying to reach
You get the
Sort of
ring,
like,
you get the golden ring, you get to go around again.
Yeah, no,
Balboa
you're just
Park used
going
to have
up,
that. It's
down,
great.
up, down.
You are.
up,
You're kind of on the
down,
merry-go-round. You go up and down.
and around in circles.
Yeah.
And, around
you listen
around
to
we
a cheesy
go.
song.
It's about to be the tilt-a-hurl.
It's about right.
It's about to be the tilt-a-hurl in a couple of games if they continue to lose.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Here comes the loopity.
There's been plenty. That is the one spot, and I need money in the chat says it as well. That's the one spot where I disagree with your friend's characterization.
It's because he has been fun at times
At
for these
times,
Padres.
it's been very
and it's
fun.
been more fun than last year, I would
Sure.
say.
Well, at this point last
There was
year,
a low bar, but
they
yes,
were already
it's-
6 or 7 games under 500, right? They
Right.
were already down there in that muck, like 4 or 5 under, and we're just going, when are we going to get up there? And then we just never did. However, what this group has done is frustrating in a different way. And we said this earlier, but this is the show reset portion of the program. They've done and accomplished a ton this year. They have beaten good teams. They have beaten good teams on the road. They've beaten good teams at home. They've had quality performances from almost every variable on the team. The guys that you weren't sure about. Profar has been miles better than expected. Cronenworth has bounced back. They've made smart moves to get guys like Solano off the bench. They trade for a rise. They go get Cease. Like, moves have worked out. Merrill, current slump notwithstanding, has been a quality player. He's generated over a WAR already this year. You know, he's done well. So all of these good things that they've painstakingly built over the course of 2 months and change, and then they just burn it. They just burn it to the ground by getting swept by Colorado, potentially getting swept here by Anaheim, a team that hadn't won 2 games in a row at home since last August. And they're starting Willie Calhoun, who's a AAA player, as their cleanup hitter. And the Padres are out there losing back-to-back to this team. So that's just what kills me, Annie, and keeps me coming back to, like, where is our sense of urgency? When does this team start to draw a line and say, these are the games we're going to dominate, as opposed to waltzing in? I just feel, and I know it's unfair. I know they all showed up to work. I know they're all getting their work in. They're looking at the iPads. They're going through the meetings. Like, they're doing the work. But the result have been barely watchable, disconsolate losses the last 2 days.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Like, we don't know. For whatever I know, they are going and they are putting in all their work. They are doing their meetings. They are getting in their work in their weight room the way they need to. They are getting in their drills the way they need to. They are treating it as they should be, and it's still just not executing for them correctly, And so that's the part that, like, I always say, like, they know that. They only know exactly what that work is that is going into it on the other side. But at the same time, these are ones that you hate because you had 3 really excellent starting pitcher appearances, and those are games that you want to win because we call them wasted, right? Because they kind of are. Like, that's a luxury when you're 3 games and you've got a starting pitcher each night that goes 6 or 7 innings, only giving up 1 run. That is a luxury for your team, and so you want to take advantage of that, win all 3, if not 2 out of 3, if not 1 out of 3, but they lost all 3. And so those are games where, yeah, like against a team that is sub 500, the Angels have no chance in heck for a playoff run. They know
None.
it. They're playing right now to get traded or just for padding, personal pride, and maybe they respect Ron Washington, whatever. But they know that they're mostly out rostered every time they take the grass each night, So these are games that, yeah, you don't get them back. There's only so many of them that you get that are like this, that are I guess I don't want to say, because they're competitive. Like, I think the A's are going to be competitive. I think, the Diamondbacks are going to continue to be competitive. And so even though these are teams that are sub 500 records, they're still going to put up a fight, in my opinion, and still try to win these games, So this next part of the schedule, as much as we talk about it being maybe one of the softer parts of the schedule, this is going to be just as hard for them, I feel like, as any other part of the schedule that they've had so far.
Well, I got some good news for Padres fans. It's on our big screen right now. The Diamondbacks and Giants are playing. And by the way, San Francisco's lost 6 in a row, but Arizona's won 4 in a row. So they're beating up on each other. These are the perfect times when you're supposed to gain ground. If the Padres had won the last 2 days, it was a guaranteed gain ground on either San Francisco or Arizona. Instead, they're just stalling here, letting other teams catch up to them. However, the good news, Annie, is that Jordan Montgomery is pitching right now for Arizona. And because he's on the bump, that means that their big lefty will not face the Padres any of the next 4 days.
So they won't get a lefty.
Well, they're going to only get one.
Okay.
There's 2 lefties in the Diamondbacks rotation. They've got a rookie, and then they've got Montgomery, and they will see the rookie on Sunday, but they won't see Montgomery, which is great news because if Montgomery pitched tomorrow, we could already write in the 0 or the 1 next to the Padres for their run total for the night.
And the National League as a whole, I think I saw some tweet yesterday. It's like only 4 teams that are above 500 right now. But the flip side of that is that all these teams are still going to be competing to get those wild card spots because even if they're all kind of like not that great, they're all going to be trying to get in the playoffs still, at least until they can't. So you have the Padres right now sitting in a wild card spot. The season does not end today. They're at 32-32, but then you have the Diamondbacks at 29-32. So I would say that this weekend, it's not the end all be all, but it's might be a little defining on where those standings go. And not that there's not a lot of time for that to change. There still is time for that to change, but if you're the Padres, you want to kind of push the Diamondbacks down lower.
Hey, we said it at the very beginning of the week when we were laughing and scratching, coming off 2 out of 3 in Kansas City, kind of dismissing the Sunday losses. Oh, well, Yuki blew it. What are we supposed to do? And saying this is the week that you push Arizona out of contention. This is the week that they come here, you shove them down, you bury them below 500, get them 5, 6, 7 games below 500, get them 4, 5, 6 games behind you in the standings. And then they feel like they can't catch you, or that it's going to be harder to catch you than it would be not to. So it's an exciting opportunity if we could trust our Padres to handle an opportunity. But this team that only wins on the road,
that's the other thing,
is now losing on the road to the worst home team in baseball in Arizona. Anaheim.
You saw all the low-hanging fruit on that, right?
Yeah.
Like this is a team that's close to San Diego. The Anaheim's too close to San Diego.
There's
too many Padres fans there.
Right.
It's too much. It's low-hanging.
Yeah, they're
fruit.
allergic
It's
to their
low-hanging
fans.
fruit.
Our team is allergic to their fans. Yeah. We're taking on Arizona, and frankly, how can you not expect the team's going to struggle right now because they're on the struggle bus. That's what this club is right now. Don't you say that. We've won 8 out of 11 series. This is my whole point. 8 out of 11 series. What has it got you? You know where you were when you started that? You were a couple games under 500. You know where you are now? You're 500. So you haven't done anything. You've accomplished a lot and not gone anywhere, and that's what's driving me crazy.
The series wins is not incorrect. He's right about if you continue to win series, you're going to be in a good spot. Like you want to win series. The issue is when you run into these ones where they're not going to win the series against the Angels. And so how do you make up those games? How do you get the whatever ones because you're kind of assuming then that you're winning almost every series from now to the end of the year.
Right.
And that is probably an incorrect assumption. You're going to lose some heavily, and you hopefully will win some heavily. You'll sweep or you'll go on some extended run that's going to make up for some stuff. So, it's not a terrible place that they're in. It's just that there's quite a few teams also around them that are bunched in this place, and these are, like Craig said, opportunities to have gotten a buffer.
Right. And at some point, when you squander all your opportunities to build a buffer, you wind up behind and going, oh, we had that chance. We had that opportunity.
And it's laid out in front of them, Craig. They still they have
right
the ability right in front of them to take the reins and put themselves on top and solidify that playoff spot. And the sense of urgency that you speak of, good time to start it.
That's it. I haven't felt this year that this team plays well unless they're on red alert. So let's go. Red alert. Red alert. Like red alert, battle stations. Fly the flag, put on the red lights, sound the klaxon alarm.
You have 7. You have the one in Anaheim tonight. Then you have 7 at home. There's 13 games in a row before the off day. So 4 against the Diamondbacks and 3 against the Oakland A's, who are not a bad, terrible team.
No, they're not. Maybe if they were better, we'd take them more serious. I don't know. I hate to say that. I don't like to impugn the team with emotional stuff. I believe firmly that the players show up intending to win every day, intending to put in the work every day. They put in work that you don't see every day. Having said that, this is show business. This is show business. This is the big leagues. When you go out and you get stomped on by Patrick Sandoval, I'm sorry. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. And we need urgency from this team. We need them to show up with that fire every game. And I know it's hard. I know you get exhausted. It's tough. But when the Padres face a left-handed pitcher right now, it is an automatic shutdown. I will repeat this number. Chris Ello is the curator of this stat. It was advanced by Sam Levitt yesterday. I further advance it today. All right?
It's been through the ringer.
It's literally on a sticky note.
It is not on a sticky note. Wow.
It is literally on a sticky note.
Serious. Okay.
On the number one chair laptop here. Okay? Last 16 games that the Padres have faced a left-handed starter. Their record in those games is 4 wins, 12 losses. The sticky note fell off. I shouldn't have taken it down to show you. Yeah. In all 16 games, the Padres scored no more than 3 runs. However, how many times did they score 3 runs in those 16 games? 3 times. 3. 13 other times they scored either 0, shut out 5 times, or 1 the other 8 times.
Yeah.
So that's a 1.38 ERA, Annie, for those starting pitchers over 98 innings over 16 starts.
Yeah, it's a little bit like a part of their identity that is in a negative way right now. And you mentioned it earlier in the show. You had 2 quick outs for almost every at bat yesterday. You know, it would be two quick.
Yeah.
It'd be 2 in every inning.
Yeah.
2 quick outs.
Out 1, out 2.
And then there'd be some 2-out action, 2-out action, and then usually, you know, that it would end there. Really, I mean, you made Patrick Sandoval work a little bit. I forget what inning, but for the most part, he mostly had power and control over that game. So, you're like I said earlier, Mike Shildt has talked about the left-handed pitching against. It's something that they felt at the beginning of the year was going to even out because this team was very good against left-handers last year. You still have a majority of players who over their career have been very good against left-handers throughout their career. They've faced some really good lefties this year, but they have also faced lefties that are touchable. You can get to them. You can score off them. You can beat them. And the Padres want to be a lineup that can beat lefties. I mean, this is a lot of good righties on this lineup, and you even want some of your left-handers that are everyday guys to be able to have some good numbers against lefties. So, what happens when you get in the playoffs? If you get in the playoffs and you want to feel like you can beat a lefty.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? If the Padres were fortunate enough to make the playoffs, just muddling along the way that they are, and 83 win their way into the playoffs. I mean, if you were facing any roster, wouldn't they just go, okay, who are the lefties on our team? Mm-hmm. I don't care who our ace is. The lefties going game 1.
So now for the Padres, Mike Shildt talked about it a little bit more a few weeks ago and said, now, we have noticed it. We have seen the issue. We're going to look and see is our approach is correct? Are we on the same page? We're going to talk about it more. Not that they haven't been, but even more, just kind of make sure everybody's mindset is the right way when facing lefties. And I don't doubt that they've done that. I'm sure they've done that. But the execution just hasn't paid off the way that they would hope.
It hasn't paid off. The left-handers in our lineup, traditionally, Letters to AJ did a Substack about this this morning. He did, as always, just such a great job with the stats side of it. But in the history of baseball, in all the games ever played forever, like one of the strongest things is lefty on lefty penalty. Mm-hmm. Like that just carries over year after year after year. Almost every player, very, very few exceptions, almost every starter, very few exceptions. Lefties are better against lefties, meaning left-handed pitchers are better against lefty batters.
Correct.
And lefty batters are worse against lefty pitchers.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's locked in. Mm-hmm. What's killing the Padres is on one side, they're starting 3 lefties per game against lefties, and those guys are Arise hits everyone, but Cronenworth, Merrill, their numbers have been very poor against left-handers and getting worse. And then the righties just have not picked up the slack.
That's it. That's the other half of this problem that should be looked at is it's not just that they've struggled against left-handed hitting. It's that for quite a while to start the season, they've just struggled at hitting at all. And they're doing a really good job of it on the road for the most part now. But the extreme of that is it hasn't been that good at home. And they, like you said, they're not making it up against those righties. Like some games are good and some games not so good. There's been more inconsistency there. So hitting as a whole, I'm sure, plays into some of this problem against left-handers. But it's even more kind of confusing, I guess, because they have done really well. They lead the majors in many offensive categories on the road. I mean, or at least they're in the top 5 now. I don't know. I haven't looked in a few days, but the other thing too, I know Luis Arraez, 0 for 4 yesterday, and you're going to have those kinds of games. But I hope that he's dealing with some soreness clearly from what happened the other day, and you hope for him that he's able to feel better, because he's someone that's very routine oriented, very likes to go about his routines the same way every day, and is someone that you want to feel as on as possible. And if not, I hope they give him some more rest. To be honest, yes, you want him in your lineup, but if he's not himself, I think you let the guy rest.
Yeah. Let's take a break. 1:21 is the time. When we come back, some more Padres
tickets.
And Padres tickets to give away. You want to do that right now?
Yeah.
Let's do it right now. All right, hang on. Liner, stand by. We are offering right now a pair of tickets to tomorrow night's Padres Diamondbacks game, and there will be no left-hander on the mound tomorrow night.
But there will be
a Xander Bogaerts bobblehead. And the first 40,000 fans will receive a Xander Bogaerts bobblehead. You can grab tickets at Padres.com/tickets, or you can just be the 5th caller right now at 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Be the 5th caller. Grab those tickets. Good luck to you from us, Annie and Elsten on the Fan. I just got an email yesterday saying that there's a new The Sacred Souls show in August here in town at the Waterfront Park. God, I love this band.
I like the song.
You'd like the rest of it too?
I probably would.
Yeah.
I need to give it a listen.
The THEE Sacred Souls. I heard Ben and Woods use them as a bumper
Nice.
the last couple of weeks. I'm like, hey, that's ours. No, I'm just kidding.
We share.
They're everyone's.
Yeah.
These Sacred Souls are for everybody. They are for everybody. Everybody in a loving mood. We love our Padres. Half the time. Half good, half bad. That's our Friars. You know what? We had a couple of things in the notebook for yesterday that we didn't get to because this was the minute, like right now was when that Garrett Crochet rumor dropped and we got all bundled up in Garrett Crochet.
We had to knit some time to do that.
Yeah, we did.
Ugh, God.
I just wanted to offer
I tried.
I wanted to
Successful.
crochet knit.
And it wasn't
Macrame.
good. Like I could have done better. So, okay.
I appreciate the effort. I just wanted to take a moment to mention the passing of a very notable figure in Southern California sports media, in T.J. Simers, who died, I believe he was 73 years old, over the weekend. And like I said, I had this from Monday in Tuesday's show notes, but we didn't get to it. You know, we were just talking about post-game press conferences and scrums and kind of, you know, what you do as a reporter when things aren't going well. Could you imagine TJ Simers strolling in to chat with Schulte tonight?
No, TJ Simers was someone who did not give a F, you know, what the company, you know, the tone was, or the temperament around, you know, the manager or the head coach or the team or whatever. He was going to come in there, he was going to ask whatever questions he wanted, and he would keep picking at the scab, despite any awkward, silences or talkbacks.
He was confrontational, often in a semi-funny way, like kind of a snarky, a little bit sarcastic. He would play games in his columns with people. He would have favorite people to pick on, and they would know each other and have a rapport and go back and forth. But TJ Simers and a person I would compare him favorably to that is still working is Bernie Wilson, who also just, like you said, they're there to dish it straight, and they're not really interested in your garbage and your spin in the way you want to milk toast it and the way you want to soft shoe it. Like, they're not really there for that. And TJ in particular would delight in getting under the skin of a manager or getting under the skin of a player and getting after it in that way. And some people really hated TJ Simers.
He had a lot of enemies, right? Exactly. I did not know him personally. Obviously, his columns are of legend in the LA Times. And then he went to, I think, the Southern California News Group, or he went somewhere else
he
for a
went
little
to
while.
OC Register for a little while.
OC Register, yeah. But yeah, he was, if you growing up at all in Los Angeles, and especially of the last, 40 years, I don't know, it would have to be something like that. He is someone that you read or you heard about because people like us would be talking about his columns on the radio.
Yeah, and I used to book him as a guest on the radio over years past. So we just had, cursory conversations and whatnot. But man, he loved to skewer the Chargers. Every single time, he would never refer to Alex or Dean Spanos. He would just write the Spanos goofs. And that was how he referred to the Spanoses in every single one of his columns. He would come down once or twice a year just to skewer the Chargers, just to really nail them to the wall. And I appreciate it because it is a memory of a time gone by and a time that is very, very, very unlikely to ever return.
Okay, go ahead.
But no, I was just saying. But I mean, honestly, where do you find the confrontational columnist, the guy who feels like he has the power to do that in today's corporate sports world?
There's also I'm in agreement. There is also now teams are quicker to say, I'm going to revoke your credential, or I'm going to make things hard for you. I'm going to make this whole thing. There's more of like bedfellows, in terms of needing the access to get in
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and teams also taking advantage of that, to be honest, against free press, you know, and it's an unfortunate place that they've gotten to now, because we talk about it a lot on this show, an inability to absorb any negativity, you know,
Right.
and so sometimes TJs were a little bit, you know, maybe below. You could argue that some of them could be below the belt, but for the most part, I think that, you know, he was fair in the fact that if something was going to be called out, it's going to be called out. And there was a time previous to this time where, you know, if you were going to revoke a credential, and I'm sure still it would happen now, but, you know, they're going to write about it. They're going to put it in the paper, and it's going to become, you know, big news, you
Right.
know,
It's going to be bad for you.
or it's going to be bad for you. Yeah. And I think that would still happen these days, to be honest, but the lack of resources now, and just the way that things have changed a little bit in the journalism world, you know, teams exert some power. And so TJ Simers is kind of someone from the past of, you know, he didn't care. He didn't care.
No, that's exactly right. And as Adam in the chat says, if you watched Around the Horn, he was one of the original regulars on Around the Horn. You know, and just enjoyed that kind of semi-combative, but more of like parrying, jousting type of debate. You know, needles here and there, wit, being clever, and I just appreciate that. Like I said, as a remnant of a bygone era.
Then the LA Times like kind of got rid of him or whatever, and
Yeah.
he sued them.
He did.
And he won for ageism. And then they threw the case out or something, and so then they sued. The LA Times wanted to appeal, and so then he won again for like way more money. Like we're talking like millions and millions. And there was a whole contentious thing about that, but you know what? He stood his ground. He won the cases both times.
He did. So R.I.P. to TJ Simers, who, if he was on the beat, would probably wear a roller coaster shirt into every press conference, or would have a hat that had a roller coaster going around it or something. Like, he was that kind of like antagonizing, you know, just like, oh, you want to be that way? Okay. You know, we'll just keep bringing it back to you. You were the one who, you know, you're talking roller coaster. Here's the roller coaster, you know, like that's just the kind of way, the kind of guy he was, and appreciate him in memoriam. By the way, in Arizona, Wilmer Flores has just socked a grand slam, and Jordan Montgomery is getting hammered 6-1 with, he has gotten 6 outs and given up 6 earned runs. The Giants can pound Jordan Montgomery for 6 earned runs in 2 innings. You know, I know, and everyone knows that if Jordan Montgomery's start was pushed back one day, he would have thrown 6 shutout innings tomorrow night.
Are the Giants going to snap their 6-game losing streak then?
It's either
looks
that
like
or they're
it.
going to blow a 5-run lead.
Okay,
and lose
what
their
inning?
7th.
What inning?
Third inning, still
third
time.
inning. Okay,
but
yeah, still time.
I
Yeah?
think they are going to blow. I think they're going to break that 6-game winning
Okay.
streak or losing streak today. Yeah.
So maybe it is actually a very good thing that they won't be facing Jordan Montgomery.
No kidding. There's another base hit. It's killing me. What? That's Yastrzemski, a lefty, getting a base hit off Montgomery. Like, I can't believe it does feel. Someone said like this is it's our new cross to bear.
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, it's the new extra innings thing.
Yeah,
or-
every year we just have to bear a cross as Padres fans. Well, you know, we're going to play baseball, but we can't do this.
Well, they can absolutely turn the tables on that, but they have to start doing it.
Please
They
do.
can completely take that, you know, that identity off of them, but they've got to start doing it.
I looked this up a little bit earlier because that's why I gave you the good news about Montgomery. Sunday, Arizona will throw a left-hander at us named Walston. Okay. Tuesday, the A's will throw a left-hander against us named Sears. Wednesday is open for Oakland. I bet you they'll find a lefty to throw in there. And then the first 2 starters, which is all that we have announced for the New York series next weekend, Sean Manaea and Jose Quintana, 2 more left-handers. So you're looking at another 4 lefties next week.
Sean Manaea is part of the Mets now. 2 more left-handers, part of a Mets team that is like in the dumpster. That'll be an interesting one just to see what kind of level competition, you know. But again, just because teams are out of it doesn't mean that they have stopped fighting or stopped being competitive. You know, that's certainly not the case, and especially this early in the season. Okay, quite a few lefties coming around the bend.
Yeah. And we'll wrap the segment. JD in the chat says, stop looking at the schedule and trashing teams below 500 like we're superior to them. They are professional teams. We need to realize playoffs are not guaranteed this season. No such thing as an easy schedule. We've been a 500 team for well over 300 games now. This is who we are. And the shrug emoji.
Okay, Joey.
Yeah, I mean.
Just kidding.
That's a terrible attitude to have. I'm tired of listening to that.
No.
Be better.
I don't think that they are looking past these sub 500 teams. I don't get the sense that they're like, we're just going to waltz all over these. I just think, or maybe there's something like, I don't know, psychologically, mentally that's happening, but I don't think that they're looking at it like this is going to be easy.
I don't think that I don't know what the hell they think, to be honest with you. I have no idea what they think. What I see is letting the opposing pitcher's game plan become the plan for the night. What I saw on Monday was Tyler Anderson, who you knew was fastball changeup, and you're taking the fastball and swinging over the top of the changeup.
Yeah.
Sandoval last night is the exact same pitcher, just worse. And it was the same thing. Oh, fastball. Oh, take, okay, 0-2, changeup. Oh, swing over the top of it. And those guys got into grooves. I mean, Anderson was 4 innings, 40 pitches. Sandoval wasn't far behind. He was like 4 innings, 55 pitches.
Oh, yeah, they cruised. I mean, it really did not seem like they were making hard work of it at all. And what I would say, too, JDS third in the chat, I certainly don't think we're trashing teams below 500, but what I think we were trying to point out is historically, and we've done the numbers, we can do them again. Historically, the teams that get into the playoffs are teams that beat up on the sub 500 opponents, and that's just how it's been. Doesn't mean that it can't happen for the Padres the other way around. There was one team in recent history, the 2016 Rangers, that had a losing record against sub 500 teams that made it into the playoffs that year. But for the most part, the reason that we kind of harp on these sub 500 teams is because typically the teams that get in the playoffs are ones that beat up on these teams. And that's just what the stats bear out. That's just what the history bears out. Of course, there's exceptions to every rule. But I certainly don't think that, like, I mean, you know, I agree with his point that there is no easy part of the schedule for these Padres. There isn't.
Yeah, I mean, his point, bottom line, is they don't treat it that way. Mm-hmm. So why do we look at it that way?
We have to stop. Right. Okay. I can understand that. So we have to stop looking at these teams and going, they're hitting a sub 500 stretch.
Right. So we're facing the dangerous as heck LA Angels of Anaheim tonight.
That's right.
The super dangerous, super competitive, super scary LA Angels of Anaheim. And boy, we better hope Dylan Cease is on his game or else we're going to get screwed.
Don't let that halo get lit, okay?
Right.
When
Keep the halo
when the
dark.
bus is driving away from the stadium, you don't want that halo lit.
Keep the halo dark tonight. Treat it like it's a World Series game. We got to be... we're all saying the same thing in different ways.
Yeah.
We got to be on red alert.
Yeah.
That's my version of it. Red alert. You got to be red alert every day if you're the Padres, because we've seen the green alert version. The green alert version loses 4-1. That's about it. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, final segment of the show. It's called Ask Us Anything. This is our end of the show. Catch all call-in segment. 833-288-0993. What did I say?
867-5309.
Is that our number?
No,
Give it a ring. See what happens.
Jenny's, isn't it?
833. That is Jenny's number. That's Jenny's number. Jenny, don't lose that number. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. You have 8.5 minutes to call the show. If you call by 150, we will get you on the air. When we come back, we'll take your calls. We do ask that you ask us a question, not maybe like list off the whole team. This guy stinks, and this guy stinks, and also this guy stinks. And hang on, I'm not done. There's another guy. He stinks too. Like, we're not looking for that call. We're looking for questions. Anything. It could be fun. We'll dig up our boy Zach's Pinocchio paradox if we have to. Let's find out what happens. Andy and Elsten, Ask Us Anything next on The Fan. All right, let's wrap things up. Annie and Elsten, we got Gwen and Chris at 2 o'clock. It's time to ask us anything. Let's do it. 833-288-0973. Here is Eddie in Chula Vista. What's up, Eddie? Ask us anything.
I just want to ask you guys, are we going to send Merrill or Campusano down to the minors so they can regroup? Because it seems like they're in a big slump right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, Eddie, they will not. They could send Campusano down, I guess, for Brett Sullivan.
They could.
I don't see it happening.
I'm not sure what happened. I feel like they're looking at Campusano as their number one, kind of.
Right. I get it. He is struggling badly.
I also wonder if it has to do with the amount of games he's played. He's played more games, I'm sure, to start the season than he has in his maybe last season or
Potentially. As to Merrill, they're not sending down Merrill. Merrill's struggling a little bit. He's handling center field fine. He's a rookie. They're not sending down. There's no one to replace him. There's literally no one to replace. What, do you want Jose Azocar to play every day? You're going to get tired of that and call us again in 2 days. Be like, where's Merrill? Bring him back. Here's, oh boy. Here's Tim in Miramar.
Hey, Tim.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Oh, come on. That ain't fair.
What? I'm just crossing my fingers, man. So how are you? How are you doing?
Okay. I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm doing great.
Great.
Doing great, brother.
I hope we can figure this out. But anyway, I don't know. I think trigonometry's tougher. Anyway, my question. Does Schulte know that he's allowed to pinch hit Peralta for Solano?
Does he know? That's a good question. He used Peralta yesterday, didn't he, Tim?
I thought he used Peralta.
He's him in the ninth inning.
He finally did, but the Kansas City game, when they're up 3-1, first and third, nobody out, and Kansas City switches pitchers and he leaves Solano in there. I mean, what? Oh, guys.
I hear you,
Talk to
Tim.
me.
I hear you, Tim.
Talk to me.
Appreciate you, brother. Keep calling us. Please do. Keep calling us, even though I go like,
I love
before
it,
we
Tim.
Yeah,
Tim's
no, we do love it.
question was, does Schulte know he can? And I would venture to say yes. He knows he can.
He knows he can. Whether he did or not, he knows he can.
Schilt goes, oh, I thought that was against the rules. I didn't know.
Who knew?
Could you imagine?
I don't think he thinks that, right?
I didn't know. No, my bad.
Kenny has a really fun question
Tim.
here in the chat. He says, if you could pick one player out of Padres history and plug them into the lineup and have them replace a player in the lineup or in the rotation, who would it be?
1998 Greg Vaughn.
I don't get it. I would replace Tony Gwynn with like everybody. Wait, what do you mean?
No, meaning
Okay.
like take one guy out and replace him with one historic figure, right? So Matt Schwartz, for example, says I'd replace Campy with Benito Santiago.
That'd be nice.
That would make sense because that's a
Yeah.
position of need, and you'd be upgrading to an incredible player. Braden is saying
98
replace
Greg Vaughn.
Yeah, put Greg Vaughn in at
Anybody is a DH.
yeah, exactly. Profar can DH, and Greg Vaughn will play left and hit 50 homers. Like
Or,
that makes
or
sense.
the other way. It doesn't really matter.
Someone in here, I need money, said, "How about Steve Finley for Merrill?" Like, yeah, that'd be a huge upgrade. And I think the
I don't
right.
like replacing them.
Well, I understand. This is a theoretical thing.
Kevin
it's not
Brown.
real.
98
That's what I was just
Kevin
going to say.
Brown.
The correct answer always is Kevin Brown because he had the single best season of any player or pitcher or anyone in Padres history in 1998. He struck out over 300 guys. So just replace Kevin Brown for Joe
Anybody in the
Musgrove.
rotation.
Yeah.
No, make it the
Randy
Vasquez.
There you go.
Smart.
It's just not,
Adam
for the
Mazur.
Saquon.
Adam
for the Saquon of
Mazur.
it all. Right. For Kevin Brown. I kind of like the Campy one. I like Benito for Campy.
I like that too. It's guaranteed
Benito
catcher
for
upgrade.
Campy.
Yeah, that would be huge. You go into an all-star catcher from from 3 for 46 to 34 game hitting streak. That'd be nice.
It's a theoretical question
Yes, it's
or whatever.
These are questions you talk
I
about
don't
on the
like to
radio.
replace.
these are ask me
Yeah.
anythings. That's what they are. Here's another one. What's your favorite breakfast cereal?
We've done that.
Have we?
We've talked about cereal before.
Okay.
I said
I
golden
love
grams,
cereal though.
I think.
don't know that I have a favorite. I like to switch it based
Do
on.
you really?
That's literally the answer. Yeah.
You could eat cereal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks.
It's like one of the worst things
It's one
to
of
put
the
in your
worst
body.
things to have in your house because it's so easy to
It's
eat.
really bad for
Yeah.
your body, but
But it's delicious.
it's
Cinnamon
delicious.
Toast Crunch.
So good.
I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch. All right, let's go with Ben and Chino and wrap things up with Ben and Chino. Hi, Ben. Ask us anything.
What's up, man? How are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
All right, so I just have a question. So instead of doing the whole thing with Crochet, which is just completely, I think it's a bad idea. What do you guys think about firing the hitting coach in the middle of the season? You guys think that'd be a bad idea?
I think it'd be a terrible idea, man. Ben, what's the matter with the hitting coach?
Victor Rodriguez, he's
They
He's
keep
doing
changing the hitting
fine,
coach, and the
yeah.
results keep staying the same.
It's right.
It's like Matthew McConaughey.
That's my thing about it. It's not the hitting coach.
We fire
I
the hitting
promise
coach
you.
every year. I mean, haven't we watched this show before? Exactly. This is like Anthony in the chat saying, well, we repeated Fast Money questions. We might as well just fire the hitting coach again.
Yeah, repeated Ask Us Anything questions, too.
That's true. That's true.
We've already done the cereal one.
Brutus fan, best sushi roll. That's impossible, man. Depends where you're going.
Yeah, it depends. What about the classic ones, though? Like the generic ones that are everywhere?
Yeah, probably spicy crab.
I'd go with the
is where
Philly
I'd
roll
go.
if I
Philly's
had to go
good.
with the generic rolls.
Yeah, a little cream cheese in there.
My mom says all I ate in high school was Honey Nut Cheerios. So she says I should say Honey Nut Cheerios.
So that's the answer.
That's the answer.
There's
Honey
your
Nut
answer.
Cheerios.
The only correct answer.
Should we fire the coach and get one coach who's
You'll
just
add
left-handed?
Tatis Senior as a consultant.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
Right there, Ben and Chino, you and I agree now. Let's just add in Toddy Senior. Just
It
put
worked out
him
for
on.
Profar, huh?
Yeah, just put him on retainer.
make a consultant. Right.
Have him have office hours.
That's right.
Down the hall. All right, great show, everyone. We'll be back with the roundtable tomorrow at 10. For Annie and Braden, I'm Craig. See ya.